Hello, everybody.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the fourth
We do
episode, the WaffleBran
yeah,
cast.
fourth episode.
Four
Wow.
episodes, Waffles. We've been doing this for 4 episodes.
Wow.
Over a
At
month
every
this
other
rate.
week. Yeah, I was gonna say at every other
Oh,
week. That's like a month of talking about absolute insanity. Hey guys, how's
Waffles, you're
everybody
muted
doing?
apparently.
I'm not muted. I don't think so. Am I? Oh, I am. 1 second. Hold on.
Got me checking my own sounds.
No, it's good. Okay, they can hear you now.
They can hear me now. Okay, let's try this again. When you're not muted yourself.
I know what it is. It's because I switched over my microphone. Hi guys. Hey friends. How are
Welcome.
you?
We'll try this again. Welcome everybody to
Welcome.
the fourth
Take two.
episode. Yeah, there we go. Take two. Welcome to the fourth episode of the WaffleBran cast. Like we said, we're doing this for about a month now.
Yeah.
In total. It's crazy.
Yeah,
isn't
it's been a while. Yeah, I can't even believe. Thank you guys. Thank you, Sugar and Jai-Host, for letting me know.
What would
I am pro streamer.
what would we be without a little bit of scuff?
Yeah, exactly. It
What
definitely
kind
wouldn't
of
be my stream.
streamers would we be without a little bit of scuff on the side?
A tiny bit of
Just a tiny bit of scuff. If it's not our scenes, if it's not our volumes, it's just us being muted. If it's not us on being cams, who knows what it could be?
Yeah.
We got a world of possibilities of what kind of scuff we could
Yeah,
do.
before we started this, it was just me realizing that everything broke in OBS because OBS, the what I'm using to record all this, decided that it didn't want to. It did an update, so it screwed up a few things that I was setting up. So that's the reason we're late. It's because of me
It's because of
and
waffles.
my
It's
dumps.
purely because of waffles. No, but still learning curve. We gotta go.
Yeah,
But 4 episodes in, how you feeling? We're almost at number 5. We're getting our grounds. We're getting the hang of things slowly. How you feeling, Waffles? 4 episodes in.
I'm feeling good. Question to everybody: is my audio good? Is the audio working okay? Because I decided to switch out some audio equipment, and everything went flippy floppy. And every time I change my audio equipment, everything just melts. Nothing works, and it takes me like 10 streams of chat going, "Hey, Waffles, your mic isn't working properly," for me to figure out exactly what the audio problems are. But I think it's good. I think we're good to go.
He thinks he's
Bran
good.
might be a little louder than I am.
I'm
Say
so
something,
loud.
Bran. Say that pizza is your favorite food.
Oh, pizza is my favorite food, Waffles.
Is it?
Oh,
Is that a what is your favorite food?
Favorite food. Hmm.
Same old waffles. Yeah, that's right. Ricky.
Same old Waffles. I don't know. I like ribs. They're quite good. I like.
Ooh, that's a high quality. That's a high class option.
High class.
Wow. You're just like, yeah, I like me
Well, good.
like
A
the
good.
fanciest steak I can get.
I'm not as fan of a steak just because of how chewy it is. I'm more of a fan
That's
of just like that fall off the bone, like a good quality fall off the bone rib, like just that easy to eat.
Ooh.
Like it's. I prefer that over a steak just because of just how chewy. I'm not a fan of how chewy sometimes steaks are. There are good steaks out there. I've had good steaks, but if I had to choose something, I'd prefer just ribs. Just a nice,
yeah,
good rack of ribs.
it
Classy
depends
boy.
on the steak. The thing about steak, this is why I don't like ordering steak because there's so many like it's very dependent on how it's cooked and what kind of cut of meat it is.
I've had
So you
filet.
could go to a restaurant
Yeah.
and it depends on what cook you had that day, what type of meat they've got in the storage, and sometimes you'll be paying 15 bucks or 20 bucks or whatever for like the chef wasn't really into it today and he just gave you whatever. Unless you go to like a really high class restaurant and you're getting a really good steak and they make sure that everything's high quality, you're kind of just throwing
It's
dice and
very
hoping you get a good
dependent.
steak.
Very dependent and very specific. Ruku, thank you for the snipe on Noko. Hello, Noko. Hello, Ruku. Hello, everybody.
Rare steak.
We're already getting off topic from what we are to getting on to food and everything. From who knows of what we were about to start this. We were starting this completely scuffed and a bunch of different things, and we go on to steak and food immediately.
Yeah, sounds
Not
about
even close to the topic we want to talk about or what we were on, which was Waffles' mic.
right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's I mean that's about par for the course.
that's
If you
about par.
can't tell, I'm hungry, and I was just talking.
He was talking about
my
burgers.
roommate's gonna go pick up some burgers, and I'm like, yes, please. I'm starving, so I haven't eaten all day. So, that's where my mind immediately
That's
goes.
where Waffles' mind right now is just food. Yes, it does hide the. Unfortunately, it does hide the because of the badge, because of the first badge.
Yes.
Anyways,
Yeah. So my mic. Yeah. So I think it sounds. I think it's okay.
you sound good to me, Waffles.
I'm really liking it. Yeah. It's so nice to have it.
We're getting upgrades around here.
Yeah, we're
It's all the upgrades, all the audio equipment upgrades, the VR upgrades.
Thanks to a bunch of people in the chat right now, especially. Thank you guys. It's so nice. Yes. Oh yeah, and VR upgrades. We're to talk about the past 2 weeks. I managed to get myself the Valve Index, a VR headset, and I've been playing around with that.
Blame me, Ronnie.
Blame Ronnie. Yeah.
Blame me, Ronnie.
You're not
Ronnie's
wrong.
fault. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Got myself the Index. Was playing around in that. I had played around in VR once before. I had the Reverb G2.
We did talk about
Windows
this.
Mixed Reality. Yeah, we talked about that and how it didn't work at all, and it was kind of Windows Mixed Reality did not play well with a lot of the programs that I wanted to, move my arms around in and play and have fun with VR, and it was just like, nah, it didn't detect controllers in half the games and things like that, and I was like, I'm taking it back. So I took it back, paid the $100 restocking fee, but I got my money back.
You got your money.
And got myself an Index, and so far, it's so beautiful.
Waffles
it's amazing.
Got hands again, everybody.
Be aware.
Hands. Be careful. Waffles has got hands again. Just if you ever see Waffles in VR chat or anywhere, be aware of him. Be careful. He's got hands again. He's very touchy.
I've got to finger. And the Index is special because you can move your fingers individually. I've got creepy hands.
He doesn't even just have hands. He's got creepy finger-like hands.
Yes.
That's what to look forward to already. You guys can already see what to look forward to if you ever see Waffles. And right there is just the plain, just exactly what you should expect from Waffles.
Yeah, just if I'm in VR chat, one of my favorite VR programs. Just if I'm inappropriately going, oh, you're so realistic, and I'm just touching you very awkwardly. Just give me a swift kick. That usually, that'll work. Give a quick kick to the shins should send the message.
Should get the message across. It's not hard.
But yeah, it's been super cool. I did a VR chat stream yesterday where I just chilled in a hot tub, and found out that staring at like wavy water particle effects for 4 hours straight gives me a massive headache. It just by the end of that stream, I was like,
Waffles has VR seasickness.
VR seasickness. So far, I haven't had any motion. I don't get like sick and stuff in VR, which is pretty nice. But I haven't gone on like roller coasters in VR or anything like that. So we'll have to figure that out.
VR.
I got to figure out what my limits are. Ruku says they're heating up some pizza, and I'm super jealous right now.
You're gonna get burgers later on, Waffles. Don't be
That's true.
You're getting food. You brought us onto the food topic, and you're gonna get food. Easy, mate.
Somebody redeem Nom Nom. Oh, I actually got to go to my. Hold on. I got to go to my channel points and turn off flexes real quick because Uh, will no flexes during podcast.
No
That
flexes.
might be a
The
little too
one time it
chaotic.
got by, and Waffles has regretted it ever since.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is a chill time. I can't be flexing during chill time.
This is a chill time where we go off on random rants about anything and everything possible. Speaking of our random rants and everything, the actual topic of today's podcast is childhood memories.
That's right. Yeah. Little waffles and little bran.
Little Waffles,
And
little Bran.
I think specifically what I kind of want to go into is like how my childhood really, interesting stories, and how kind of it affected me and turned me into the person that I am today, because that's, obviously what happens to you in childhood
Con-
is pretty has a pretty big impact on who you are now. So,
Conveniently, for anyone in North America, it is Mother's Day as well, which kind of falls back to
yeah,
this
happy
similar
Mother's Day.
topic. Yeah, so happy
Any
Mother's Day
mothers
to
out there?
anyone who, yeah,
Anybody in chat
North
who's a
America,
mother, happy Mother's Day.
and specifically North America, because I'm pretty sure it's different in other places. But I
Right.
know in North America that it is Mother's Day, so we got that going.
Here in
That kind of
America.
relates to the topic of how you were raised and everything in childhood memories, which is such a big influence on our lives and everything. And to know, to to realize how prepared we were, I forgot the topic. So I'm gonna go off just purely, just instinct
Yeah.
at this rate.
Bran like 15 minutes before we started. What were we talking about again
I was
on this
I was like,
podcast?
I think I know what we're talking about, but can you remind me?
I was
'Cause
like,
I was like, I
Well,
think it's
hold
childhood
on, wait.
memories, but I just forgot.
Childhood, yeah.
I was just like, I think I know what it is, but you gotta remind me. I'm like, okay,
Um,
yeah, I was right.
On a sidestep real fast. Did you guys hear the alert when Diddy did the Subarino? Because I got to make sure that that's muted so
Did you
that
hear the
it's
alert?
not interrupting this. I heard the alert.
Then they
but I
probably
don't-
heard
that
the
doesn't that doesn't mean they hear the alert.
They probably heard the alert.
they
depending
might
on
have.
depending on where your audio comes from.
I'm almost positive they did.
I'm almost.
In which case I'm gonna have to turn it off. So, um, but yeah. Childhood has a huge impact. I played video games throughout most of my childhood, and lo and behold,
we
this is where I am.
we briefly
Uh,
went through a lot some of our childhood with video when we talked about video games and how they influenced our gaming path at least. But this is definitely a good opportunity for us to get more in depth about what's influenced us entirely. I know that we've briefly talked about just what a brief stint of our childhood. We never went in depth to it. We just kind of was just like, hey,
Kind of like
this is
skirted
stuff we
around it.
did. This is stuff that's slightly influenced us. It's more specifically on video games, and then got here. But this is definitely a good chance for us to go looking back on some, I guess, deep memories of ours of how or why we're here today or what we've done to get to us to point. Because obviously we've taken two different paths where you stuck a lot to online stuff and I was more of the kind of forced to be
I
more out the doorsy kid. So
Actually, you'd be very surprised how outdoorsy I was as a kid. I did play a lot of video games, but I did play a lot of outdoors. It was kind of a mix for me. Um,
yeah.
there was definitely, when we played outdoors though, we'd pretend we were in video games. So that's, if that says anything, that was most of most of my childhood was either playing video games. But our parents wouldn't let us play too many video games, so
Well, even
we'd
to that
play outside and pretend we were playing video games.
Well, even beyond that, our timelines of just childhood in general is there's a different generation between us for sure that we can probably definitely see between us talking about our timelines.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's start with Bran. I'll let you start this
So
time.
let me start.
What's your maybe earliest childhood memory that you can really remember?
It's really hard. I don't have a great memory, but I will start with this.
Well, nobody has a great
Oh,
early
I have
first
a really
memory,
bad
and
memory.
it's all blurs, kind of.
It's a lot of blurs and stuff, but I did live in a different place when from where I am now. I used to live in a place called Langley, BC, in British Columbia.
Okay.
I was born in Ontario. I moved to to British Columbia, and then I moved back here. But I my sister was born out in British Columbia, and I lived there for a couple of years. I was really young. I was like between the time I was there, I was like between the ages of 1 and 3 for the time I was there. But there's not a lot of memories there. But that's kind of where everything started. Is I met a lot of friends there that when I was younger and I had a bunch of fun with them. Nothing I can remember, and I don't talk to them anymore. But it was just
Just kind of like blurs of friends that you used
yeah.
to have
But
when you were like
yeah,
super young, like other toddlers that you would just kind of like play with. Yeah.
yeah. But it's definitely something that started because then those are the people you start talking to and just start trying to get to know at first, and you don't know much, and you're just going head first into it. But it was just one of those things where it's just like I know that's a part of my life. It's so hard to remember it just because it was so
Yeah.
long ago, and I had no clue what was going on. My first real childhood memories are probably in the last year of kindergarten. Back when I moved back here, and there was one friend that I was really close with, and we went to kindergarten together. And I think I don't remember if I know I was half day, and he might have been full or half too, but we just hung out a lot of the times and in the back, and we just kind of chilled and had fun and did what you did as kids and just enjoyed life. No
Kind of
cares in
chill
the
and
world.
have fun and whatever. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Kindergarten, man. Kindergarten was I've got a lot of remember nap time? Did you guys
We
have
did have nap
nap
time.
time and everybody slept, all
I
laid some mats down?
I was half day for when I moved over to here and did my last year of kindergarten. So I missed out on the full day and missed out on nap time, but I do remember it.
You missed out on nap
Well, because I
time.
went home.
Oh
So
no.
I went home. So it was just like,
Yeah.
I guess
Oh,
half.
okay.
So it was just like, because the first half of the day was there was a bunch of stuff, and then you'd always have like your lunch slash nap time, your midday, and then you'd continue on. I'd leave at that lunchtime to go home with my mom. And then
Okay.
so I know about nap time, and I think I did it like once or twice, but
I know of this nap
I
time.
know
I've
of this
heard of
nap
it
time.
before.
I've seen the nap time room and everything that was in the attic of the small little place I was in. But I never actually did it, or really that often.
Oh, really? That's like one of my most prominent, strange like childhood memories of like everybody had to lay out their mat or whatever, and we'd lay down for nap time, and every time I remember as a kid in kindergarten when we lay out these mats, I was very bad at falling asleep as a kid. I was a full of energy. I was like an energetic, crazy kid. I had all the energy in the world. It was impossible for me to fall asleep. So I just remember um, every single nap time of kindergarten was me laying down the mat and just sitting there with my eyes wide open, just staring awkwardly at all the children for like a straight hour of this kindergarten nap time. And it was kind of one of those, because I did play so many video games as a kid, and I played a lot of pretend. So it would just be me laying down on these mats daydreaming about what I would do when I get home and things like that, and play with kids. It's for some reason nap time, those I don't remember a lot about kindergarten. I don't think anybody really does have a super
Unless you're really young.
super detailed memory. Some people, have better memories of their younger years than others. Um, but I remember nap time really consistently for some reason, and it was I don't know, maybe it's because it's one of those times where I just lay down and reflect on things as a kid. You did your version of reflecting as a kid was like, "Oh, I can't wait till I get home and go play stuff and go do things and have fun with my friends. Please, can we get up now?" Um, but yeah, and also me getting yelled at the teachers for me getting up constantly because I could not sleep, and the teachers would be like, "Lay down," and I'm like,
Like,
"I can't sleep," and the teacher would be like,
try.
try. You're gonna lay
Try.
down and you're gonna lay there for an hour. And I was like, okay, teacher. And yeah.
Wait, they kept the kids in the attic. Sounds sus. I don't know if it was an actual attic, but it was one of those two-story built like
Oh.
where you had like a ground floor, and then they I don't know if they built stairs, but they built stairs to the second floor, and then it was that was at the peak. So I don't know if it was an actual attic, but it just kind of, to me, it looked like it. I didn't spend much time up there, so I obviously I don't remember much of it, but it was just kind of one of those things where it's just like you did have stairs that went up there, and so you could easily walk back and forth, but I don't know. It was a small building. It was a small building. There wasn't many kids. There was like 10 kids that went to the kindergarten. And everything. Teachers were great. There's like two of them watching 10 kids.
Yeah. For mine, that we just laid down mats in the room that we were being taught in. They just kind of scooched the desks aside and we're just like, lay down, lay on the floor. Here's some mats. That was it. We didn't move rooms or anything like that.
I think they went upstairs. That's what I think. Again, I didn't experience it much, so I think they went upstairs. They slept upstairs while the teachers like tidy up downstairs or something like that. I can't remember though.
Ruka says, and now you'd lay down for 2 hours if you could. Exactly. Now, God, I wish I had time.
I wish I had nap time. Yeah, I
yeah,
know, right?
give me nap time, please. Now I need nap time.
Just 1 hour.
We didn't know how good we had it as a kid.
You don't realize how good you have it as a kid.
Lay down
Ever
and sleep whenever, and parents would be like, "Yes, they're sleeping. Thank God." But now that I need the sleep, it's like, no, you got to keep going. Now I need that kid energy. It's always funny how that goes. I need that kid energy, don't have it, and I need that nap time.
You need that nap time. I know, right? The feels on that one. God.
Yeah.
But you never really know how good you have it as a kid until you get a certain age. Until you hit like your late teens, I think, is you don't realize the benefits you've had as a child and how easy it is. And then you get to a certain adulthood, and then it's just like, well, fuck.
Yeah. I remember my first memory as a kid was I think before I was even in kindergarten or anything like that. My very first memory that I can really recall was I lived in an apartment. My family lived in an apartment in Texas for a while when I was very young. I've never really asked why we were in Texas because we weren't there. We were there for like a year, and I know my dad told me why we were in Texas before, but I always forget. But we were in Texas for about the very first memory was like the first year I was actually developing memories. I was in Texas, and there was in our apartment building there was a Mexican family that lived 2 floors down, and they had a little kid that was exactly my age, and I have so many memories of just me running up and down the stairs of our apartment building with this Mexican kid from this family, and just running up and down playing tag. We weren't allowed to leave the apartment building,
Right.
so my very first memories are just me running up and down like this, and it wasn't a very nice apartment building. It was kind of meh. So
Yeah.
just running up and down these grungy cement stairs with this kid and playing tag with him, and that's all of my memories until I moved out of Texas. Another memory, actually. No, I take it back. There's 2 memories I have from my very first memories of life. One was running up and down the stairs with this kid. My very second memory, when I was a kid, and I think a lot of parents have dealt with this with kids. I was very fascinated by the toilet.
Oh.
And I would go around and I would just like randomly flush when I was bored and I had to sit inside, and I didn't have video games at that point. I was a toddler. My passing time was me flushing the toilet and watching it drain, and flushing the toilet and watching it drain. And then I would look at the toilet paper. And I would look at the toilet.
Oh no.
Toilet paper. And I'd take the very edge of the toilet paper, peel it off, or start peeling the roll and put it into the toilet and just go and just watch the toilet paper go as the toilet flushes and the toilet paper sitting there just going, and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, this is cool, this is amazing. And more than one occasion, I'm pretty sure I would absolutely flood the entire bathroom
Oh
by
no.
just
Oh no,
Flushing.
waffles.
rolls and rolls of toilet paper down down the toilet. And I just remember
Oh.
my parents being so, they weren't mad at me. They were just like, "What the heck?"
What child have we raised?
Oh,
What is
yeah,
this
man,
child?
I was a chaos kid. I was pretty reserved around other people. I was a very shy kid, but when I wasn't, uh, shy, I was absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's my first two memories: running up and down the stairs with a random other toddler and clogging my parents' toilet. Yeah, hey Selexia,
It's
you
Lexi.
didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. You're
Didn't
here
miss
just in
anything.
time.
Okay. Everything was just scuffed at the beginning. That's all I'll say. Scuffed beginnings.
Oh, I was shy for a very long time, Riku. I was a shy person for uh most of my life, I think. Even all the way through high school. Not really much of a social person in high school either. I had my clique of friends and we kind of hung out there and then that was it. But no, yeah, it wasn't until real late, after graduating high school after a few years that I really started to, it kind of figured out that there was nothing to be shy about, and my brain was like, oh, everybody's just as, has their problems just as much as you do, and everybody's everybody's got their own issues and stuff like that, and that caused me to be a little less shy. So, but I was definitely shy for most of my life.
Yeah, I can say this definitely the same thing as my memories as a child have been always has been mostly of me being quite shy and everything. And I think after kindergarten, once hitting primary school, it was my first experience of having a more developed mind and moving to somewhere I didn't know, or not moving, but moving to a school because my kindergarten was separate. The kindergarten I went to was separate from the actual primary school I went to. And at this primary school, they also had a kindergarten. So a lot of people who were in grade one already went to kindergarten here. And obviously in that area, you normally have a group of friends, or you can start making friends, or getting friends with a lot of people there because, well, you're kids. You're gonna just talk to
Yeah.
anyone you want.
Yeah, when you're kids, I mean, I was shy, but I wasn't shy around other kids. I was just shy around, grown-ups. Other kids would just be like, "Hey, wanna play Pokemon? Yay!" And that was it. That was, yeah.
But
When you're a kid.
yeah, but moving to this primary school was my first experience not going into a place where I didn't know anyone. So it was just kind of like it was a lot of nerves and everything, and that kind of I feel like kind of just made me a little bit more shy. But I met my best friend there. As there was my best friend, he was at going to school and he was just like, hey, you want to play or whatever. I can't remember, but whatever it was, or he was just like, and I'm
I
like, yeah,
want to play.
you want to hang out and play? I was like, yeah, sure. And I gotta say he's the more extroverted of us for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. He's
Do you
more
still know
way
him?
more.
Do you still
Oh
like?
yeah, yeah. COVID's kind of sucks because I haven't talked to him in a while, but I haven't had a chance to hang out. But we definitely
Yeah.
still keep in contact and everything. And he's been my best friend throughout from then till now. So
Okay. Yeah. I wish I could say the same. I lost contact with all my childhood friends a long time. We used to move around a lot. So
yeah,
I was saying I was in like Texas for a year, but we'd move. I was
I
in like
yeah I've been lucky
Texas,
enough.
Georgia, Michigan, all over the place. So.
I've been lucky enough to not have moved, especially during my childhood. I've stayed where I am ever since I moved back here. So I've spent all my childhood, I'd say, majority of it here, and I've gotten to know so many different people, and and created good friendships out of it to guys that I keep talking to and have influenced me for sure. And that's probably where the direction I'll be taking my stories more or less, is how my friends have
Yeah.
influenced me a whole lot. Because especially my best friend, I talk about sports and stuff. He's a big influence on the reason I got into baseball and everything. He enjoyed baseball, and I followed him, and I played with. I decided to play with him, and we kept being on the same team when we asked to be, and that's kind of the direction we took. And we that's one of our bonds that kept us together. And he was definitely the person that made me go into that sport. It was because of him, because he was my best friend at the time. And he's just like, I'm doing baseball, and he did 1 year of baseball before me. I'm like, hey, mom, dad, can I do baseball? Alex is doing it. And I'm like, and they're like, sure. So that's what happened, and I got into it that way.
I think keeping in contact with your with your childhood friends is actually kind of, I think it's a lot more rare, because I think we people tend to change and move around a lot, and
There's a lot of people that I've lost contact with because of moving and stuff. It's one of those things where when people say you're gonna lose your friends in high school once you graduate, it hits hard, because you know it. Because once you hit that grade
yeah.
12, you know it's gonna fucking happen too. It's once it gets close to that day, you're like, yeah, I already start seeing it happen. And then it's just like there's
Yeah.
certain amount of people that you stay in contact with. Everyone else is just out the door.
Yep. As soon as yeah. I mean, short of like a high school reunion or something like that, which I never went to
I
because
don't think we have
uh
up here in Canada on a regular basis, so
they don't do high
that's
school reunions up there.
not typically. I think it's a lot of
I
private
don't think I
schools
would
will, but
I don't
even
think I'd want to go. I would feel so like these are complete strangers to me now.
I
If I
don't
went to
know.
a high school reunion now and I met some of the people, I mean, it would be kind of cool
I
to see like these people that you haven't seen in so long.
I think it's the introverted side of us that says I don't want to go, but I think it'd be a great
No, I'd love
opportunity
to
to
hang
go.
out at a party. I You invite me to a place with drinks and I can talk to people. I it's
But
it
even
would
as
bring on this awkwardness
even
that
at a high
I
school reunion, it's not always a bad thing to catch up, to go and just see where people are. Maybe that's just the side of me that's like always interested in just where people are, just kind of like just kind of like what happened to them. And this is your opportunity to see some people and what happened to them. Maybe it's just my curiosity that gets the
yeah.
better of me.
I
But
mean,
I think it'd be an interesting opportunity to have it and go back and just be kind of just like poke, just be like, okay, I remember what you were in there, and now you're here. Okay, that makes sense. Or wow, this is completely off from where I thought you would be. I thought you'd be off doing whatever.
and I feel like this is so I had a little channel that I asked some people to post some of their childhood stuff, and I posted it pretty late, so it was pretty much only Ruku, but Ruku sent me a thing, and I want to read that really quick. That Ruku says, I used to spend my weekends in the Netherlands. I live in Belgium myself. My parents bungalow at a camping place near a small beach in a
Oh,
harbor. I spent
waffles lagging
hours.
out.
Am I lagging out?
You lagged out for a second there for me.
Okay.
I think you're good.
My parents own a bungalow at a camping place near a small beach in a harbor. Uh, I spend hours swimming in the sea. Had a lot of kids my age too that spend most of my time there. It was some of the best times of my life. But Riku also says that they lost contact with most of them too, and miss a few of those peeps. Yeah, but time doesn't stop. But I got all you now. Thank you, Riku. Yeah,
And
you're an amazing member of the
Noko
community.
just said
Thank
in
you
my
so much.
chat, yeah, after I graduated, I tried to keep in contact with one friend, but it kind of fizzled out since he was pretty far away. And reasonably at that, I think that's a common thing, is that people move away to different universities and colleges and everything, and it's hard to keep in contact nowadays.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of a yeah. It's tough. You really, if you don't really work on it, um, I don't think a lot of people keep their contacts from early. I think that's a pretty common thing is people losing, it's very rare to keep like childhood friends throughout your whole life. If you don't change into, either you change into different people, you move somewhere, all sorts of things can interfere with that. So it's very rare to have a friend from the very early days that you still talk with and things like that. Um,
It's
yeah,
it's a special bond you have between certain people that last longer. That I find is the special combination of like having people that you keep in contact consistently, is because the people that I do still keep in contact, I've had a special bond with it, whether it being just hanging out for them so long or just consistent talking regardless of what's happened. I find that that's the people that I keep the most contact with, and it's fallen off a bit, and reasonably at that. And there's a couple people that I probably want to contact again to keep up with, but it's just that determination of the people you actually truly hang out with.
yeah, and I miss a lot of my old friends, and it came, the thought occurs to me every once in a while. I lay down my head to go to sleep and stuff, and I'll think, man, what are my old friends doing nowadays? What if I saw them today? What would they? Are they even still alive? I have no idea. They're probably still alive. I would hope so. Doing something, maybe they were successful and they moved on with their. Maybe they still play video games because I played video games with a lot of my childhood friends. Um, yeah, my childhood, I lived. I lived in a lot of different places, but I had like one spot in my childhood where I stayed for a lot of years, and I had this posse, this posse of
Passe.
kids that were for some reason. Um, I'll move on to this part of the talking about my childhood. Uh, Schmoodle, no, no, we don't know. Caller number 5, you're on the air. I mean, I will read anything you type in chat,
We'll
but
read a lot
if
of
I
things.
add somebody to the call right now, it just
It would
screws
explode.
everything up. Yeah, it just is. But I'll read anything you post in chat, sure. Speaking of which, Alexia says, I didn't really have a lot of friends, maybe one in each school I went to, but looking back, you're kind of lonely, but you're glad you have all of us now. And you know,
Well,
I kind of mirror that a little bit after I graduated elementary school. I was kind of a loner too in school. Um, looking back, yeah, it can be, if you're not good at making friends, it can be kind of a lonely experience and stuff like that. I didn't like high school that much or middle school, to be honest, but yeah, I have all you guys in the community, and all these people that accept me and I can talk with. And the internet is an amazing place, and it
it's
definitely
an addicting place.
has is an addicting place. And it definitely has its downsides at times, for sure. um but I've met some amazing people here on the internet, and
It's
I wouldn't have it any other way. If me everything up to this point in my life that led me here has led me to all you guys, and I don't regret that at all.
no, I don't think a lot of us regret meeting everyone here online. Uh, yes, love you too, Noko. Noko says much love to y'all.
Schmoodle, no.
uh,
Schmoodles are there gonna be
yeah, I
fellas.
see it.
Nope, nope, I'm good.
I see it. Yeah, no, I think a lot of us will never regret just meeting how many of us are online and just getting to know us. I think it is a different relationship between the people you have online and an in-person relationship, and I don't think it's. I will always say I love having the online relationship I do with a lot of people, with all you guys and everyone that I've met through online. But there is also that certain aspect that you miss about in-person kind of contact of friends and everything. And I feel like that's the thing that one sucks during the times of COVID, and two,
Yeah, I think everybody can kind of mirror that
yeah,
feeling in
I was gonna say,
2020.
and two is the issue of just being stuck online. too much, where you don't force yourself to go outside and have that human interaction where I think it's needed in some points. Right now, it's kind of hard to debate it because of COVID. So
Hmm.
it's one of those things where you lean hard on online, but at the same time, once it ends, it's like, can we get out of this rut where we force ourselves to be stuck on in line online so much, and force ourselves to go out a little bit to be hang out with people that are IRL, which is why convention, if TwitchCon happens and stuff, and it can get to a good capacity, is always a good chance to go to, just to see
That
these
would
people.
be, yeah. I've got to push my I gotta push myself to actually, once all this COVID stuff is worn off, and it's still, it's
Find
still
people.
in it's still, not everybody has their shots and stuff like that, so it's still pretty hard. But you got to be. I'm so used to not going outside and talking to anybody now that it's definitely affected me mentally. Uh, because I like going out and talking to people. I feel so nice when I can, and it definitely has affected me for sure, like mentally being stuck indoors and not being able to talk to anybody with all that. And I don't I wasn't hit as hard because I've got a couple roommates and stuff like that, so we all kind of we can bounce off each other and at least talk to each other in that regard. But a lot of people don't exactly have that.
I think it's
And
affected people in different ways. There's some
yeah.
people who have been able to survive with it, but I do think it's affected almost everyone in some sort of capacity. Maybe it hasn't hurt certain people as hard who are more used to staying indoors, but I think it still affects you regardless. It's just because you don't have that freedom as much, even though maybe you weren't used to it. I think you
Oh
kind
yeah.
of realize it still at some point.
No, I think, yeah, I think everybody's gonna be very it's gonna be a very cautious, everybody's
Environment,
so
yeah.
used to, yeah, everybody's so used to this now, and now everybody's gotta revert back and figure out how to talk to people again. And yeah, that's going to be a fun time. But people are pretty adaptable. I think once everything opens up and gets more, people just go back into their
Routine.
old habits and stuff like that.
Nothing. I don't
Yeah.
think anything's going back to the same. It's hard to say that things are going to go revert back to normal, or quote unquote normal. But it's going to be
Um,
nice to have that freedom again
yeah.
once it's allowed to a certain extent.
And we're talking about childhood. Boy, that's a memory that'll definitely be added. Remember the year when you didn't leave your house as a
Remember,
kid for, like, that's got to really
remember
affect you.
2020? Holy shit!
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I can't imagine what it would have been like to have an entire year where you just didn't go outside and play with your friends. Like, that's crazy.
Well, it's already affected me as a recent graduate of a college. My job opportunities and everything, and where I've needed to put myself, it's affected me because I didn't get that full experience of graduating and everything, and now I'm in a job where I'm working for something that maybe I would have had more opportunities if COVID didn't exist. So I can't imagine what it would be like for a kid who doesn't understand the concepts of what's going on right now to a full extent, and can't hang out with friends which they're used to, and for an entire year plus.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's yeah, it's a complicated, mentally mentally. I'm not sure how it's affecting kids and all that kind of stuff, but going I want to go back onto the topic of childhood and stuff like that, and see if we can swing back around to that, because
Reloop
yeah,
around to it.
otherwise we I could talk about COVID for hours and we will not. Podcast, good place to let go of your frustrations, be like, oh, COVID, you dang. um yeah, so okay, moving on to another topic about childhood. What what would you say is your most prominent, happy or sad, memory from your childhood? And if if anything's too deep, and you don't want to say it, don't Of
Happy
like,
or
I remember
sad
when my
childhood?
entire family died.
Oh my
No, don't
goodness.
worry.
Oh god, that's a interesting question. I think I can't think of any moment specifically, but considering we're on the topic, I think the best times I've ever had were when I was in high school, getting the chance to hang out with a bunch of my friends. So like you, I had a small little posse, uh, that I hung out with during high school, and we had this tight group of people that we would always hang out with, and
Okay.
it was quite restricted to about like 7 or 8 of us, or seven, somewhere like that. That would hang out together, and we would do a lot of things together. Go to people's houses, chill out together. I think my happiest moments were probably with them, chilling out with with that group, just
Yeah.
doing a bunch of different things together. And whether that was chilling at someone's house, going to a baseball game or something like that, which a couple of us did, those were probably the happiest moments, just because of just the relationships I built with them and just enjoying life, I guess.
Yeah, I think yeah. I think those are the prominent memories that stick out with us as kids, is just having fun with your friends. And the moments that you shared as compatriots in your victories and your defeats and things like that. I memories that stick out. I've got a lot of events. So as I was talking before, yeah, I had this posse. This We lived on a street in Georgia. I lived just outside of Atlanta in a small town called Ackworth, and we lived on a street called Dogwood Lane. And through some strange, I don't know, twist of fate, there was the entire street. There was my house, the house to going down the street. So the street was on a hill like this, right? My house is right here, almost near the top of the hill, and then you go down, another house right here, another house right here, another house right here, and then it would turn off. All of those houses had kids in the exact same grade, as the exact same age as I was, and almost like it was fate. I had my house right here, and then I had my best friend next door, a girl named Destiny, and then I had another girl next door that lived in a house, Megan, and then my friend Wade. And we would all I would spend I want to say a huge chunk of my childhood I spent just going on crazy insane adventures with them, because we'd all, we spent every almost every moment, like, we would go to the bus, we'd all be waiting at the bus stop together, we'd all get on the same bus, go to school, go to the exact same class, hang out with each other all day there, get off the bus, not go home because we didn't want to go home. We wanted to play and just hang out with each other and go on our insane adventures. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I almost entirely one of the defining features that I remember as a kid that I would distinguish my friends by were which kids owned which video game console,
Right.
or had which video games that we had access to. And that was a huge, like, that was a big thing that we'd all like. uh my friend Destiny was the one with the Sega. She had Sonic, and we'd all hang out and just play Sonic
I like
forever.
how you
they,
can
they
remember this
only had like
still.
two games. They had Streets of Rage and oh yeah, this is stuff that is permanently in my head, like,
Launched in there.
so well defined. um this was like probably the biggest influencing factor of my childhood, and like how it really, I don't know, it really shaped a lot about me, playing with these friends and hanging out with them a lot. Destiny had the Sega. We play Sonic. My friend Megan was she was an interesting character. she uh
She
she
was
was
interesting.
very, very snobby, very stuck up and kind of
Oh no.
full of herself. She was that like, and any anime fans here, she was a very tsundere character. She was a very
Someday.
like very prickly. Um and she had the Super Nintendo with like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. And we go and play Final Fantasy over at her house and stuff. And then my best friend, the one at the very end of the street, my friend Wade, uh, bigger kid, had the Super Nintendo as well, and I spent a decent chunk of my childhood playing Super Nintendo at Wade's house. Man, I played a lot of Super Nintendo. I just and I didn't have any. I had a computer. I had like one of these old for my video games that I had. Was this old, like the old computers with the CRT monitors, except for it would display nothing but like yellow text. There was no operating system. It wasn't Windows and stuff like
Right.
that. This was early 90s. And it just had like a input command line, and you
Yeah.
type in the command line, and then you would get. And video games back then were so basic. They were the most basic on computers as you could get. And I would type in like dash start program dungeon.exe, and it would be like this little pixelated boy that made no sense, and I would just try and go through a maze of skeletons and stuff like that. So that's all I had as a kid for video game. um and never stayed at home because I wanted to play all of my friends' video games.
I want to read this because this was it's kind of goes back to you watching the toilet flush. Noko says, "I remember we used to take videos during Xmas. This was in 1995, and I still remember watching it. And it always started with my brother zooming in and out on a flushing empty toilet. The tapes are gone, unfortunately, but it says it still stays in my mind. So you're not the only one watching a toilet.
Yeah, what is it with kids and their fascination with toilets? And it's just like, yeah, flush is cool. That's amazing.
And thank you
Yep.
for the raid. Hello, everybody. Hello, raiders. Welcome to podcast. We're talking about childhood memories.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, so I could go on. I'll pause it there
You
for a
pause
second.
it
Did
there,
you
okay.
have any cool memories with your posse that you like, any like specific, do you have any specifics of like interesting things that you did, or like adventures?
I think a lot of my adventures with my quote unquote posse, it was more or less with my best friend that I've had the most experience with. Is that he was the one I always hung out with a lot of times. He we got older, we had the freedom to go downtown and everything, and I was definitely with him where we would go down to watch baseball games or something like that, and there was like 3 or 4 of us that went down together, and at one point we got 7 of us to go down, which was quite of an adventure and quite of a plan. The biggest memory that I have is near to the end of our high school time. We took a big trip for 3 days down to Niagara Falls. We got a
Okay.
decent amount of us, so we got 2 cars, and 8 people all together, and we traveled all the way down to Niagara Falls, and stayed in 2 rooms. And I did a lot of the planning at the time to get them, or to get us to with all the bookings and stuff and down there. So that was interesting, but it was probably the funnest time I've had because it was eight
Just
of
hanging
us.
out at Niagara Falls.
It was 8 of us, no parents, no nothing, and we just
Dang.
did this all on our own. And it was the first. It was one of those times where it's the first time you felt like kind of independent, just because it was just 8 friends chilling out, hanging out in
Just
Niagara
chilling,
Falls,
hanging out. Yeah.
doing whatever we wanted to, just basically, and we
Did
had a
you have
blast.
what kind of supervision did you have? Or do they just kind of like let you go and just be like, don't drown in the massive
They trusted us. We were good
giant
kids.
waterfalls? They trusted
We were we were all good kids. This was like our this was like in grade 12 or something. So like we were
Okay.
17, 18. or so like
Oh,
so
okay,
so
okay, okay. Okay, so
like
it wasn't super
no
young.
no
Okay.
we were I was
Oh, I thought you
17.
were talking about like in grade school, they just let a
No
bunch of
no no
kids
no
go hanging out
I
at
was like
Niagara Falls and be like, "Don't drown, kids.
no
Have fun.
no I
Bye
was
bye.
that's why we could drive and everything because you had to be like 17
Daddy and
16
mommy
17.
will be at the bar. Have fun."
Yeah, it was interesting because it was like this is the first time we had freedom because this again some of us there was a couple of us who were actually hit 18, so it was that one of those times where a turning point was like you felt like hitting your as an adult, uh, but there was some of us who were 17, but we were almost hitting that age. But it was just we all went down, no supervision whatsoever. It was three pure days of us planning our trip and
Okay.
going because I remember specifically is I took a good lead in it, but we went to one of our friends' house and we sat in her house and we are like, okay, here's our plan to get down there, here's our plan on where we're staying, is everyone okay with this is the money we're splitting between everyone. It was purely planned out, and then we went down there and just had a blast.
Did you guys stay overnight, or was it
Oh
just
yeah,
kind of like
3 days. Just 3 pure days.
oh,
Three
it
days,
was an
2 nights.
entire okay. It was like
We,
a whole
we
camping trip.
we took a we it was like a 4 hour drive from where we are down to Niagara Falls. We took that in two separate cars. Two people volunteered to drive. They drove down there, and we spent 3 days, 2 nights over there. It was so fun. Like
What'd you
that.
guys do? Did you guys sing around the campfire? Did you
Well, we were staying in Niagara Falls. We still stayed in a hotel and everything. So it was, but
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, so you weren't camping. You
we
weren't
weren't
like staying
camping.
in a park or
We
anything
no,
like that.
we stayed in a hotel that was there, but we
Okay.
obviously went to Niagara Falls. We went to take pictures of the falls and everything. We played pool, which was a fantastic thing. Is that was probably one of the funnest
Like
things we
bar
ever did.
pool, like
It wasn't an arcade, but
oh,
it was an
nice.
actual it was an actual pool table and everything, and there was a couple of them, and I think that's the time where we spent most of our time was there, just having fun in that, and it was just kind of funny to do it. We went exploring. There's a couple of just nice museums and stuff down there that we went to explore and everything, and
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait. Back up just one
okay,
second.
backing up.
You were 18 and 7. Were you guys still in
17,
high
18.
school?
Yep, 17,
17,
18.
18.
Grade
You
12 last
guys
year.
willingly, high school kids, went to museums.
Well, they were like wax museums and stuff. Like
You you guys willingly went to a wax
it
museum.
it was part of a package that we got for one of the
Oh
things that
my
we bought. So
goodness.
I don't know. We just was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go see what it is.
You that is something
We
that
did mini
I
pod.
high school kids willingly going to a wax museum.
Oh,
I will admit there are some
w-
very
yeah,
cool wax museums.
there was a
but-
lot of times where we just made fun of the things. Like we went to it because it was part of a package we got. Like because it was like one of those tickets where it's just like, yeah, if you go here or stay here, you get this kind of bundle, and this is a ticket you get to go places. And
Right.
one of the things
You
was
just be like, let's go check this
and
out.
as high school kids, you're like, let's make the most out of what we're
Yeah,
spending.
let's get everything
So
in,
we
yeah.
went to it, and we took pictures, and we had a good time. But it was a lot of just kind of like, this thing looks fucking hilarious.
Museums are awesome. Yeah, no, Ronnie, I 100%. No, I'm not saying museums suck. I love
Imagine-
museums. I'll check out every museum I can whenever I go like traveling nowadays and stuff like that. I didn't share that sentiment when I was in high school, or maybe later, maybe as a senior in high school. I guess once you're around 17, 18, you start to appreciate that stuff a little bit more.
Well, we did so
Younger
much.
than that.
No, yeah.
Museums
But
bored
it
the
was
hell out of me.
it was definitely one of those ambitions where it's just like we actually didn't mind it, as well as it was just trying to make the most out of what we could. And I have so many pictures from that and so many good memories from that. Like that was one of the best trips I think I've ever took, and it was probably one of the fondest memories, because this was grade 12, the end of grade 12, so we're about to leave high school and everything, and we know that the time's coming short, but it was just such a great time just to take 8 of us to go down there and go, fuck it, let's go.
Let's go have fun.
Let's go. No parents, no 3
Are
days. Let's go.
Do you still have you kept in contact with any of them?
There's a couple that I kept in contact, but the majority of them I haven't, and it kind of sucks. But it's just like
Yeah.
certain things, definitely some of the things I wasn't close to some of as close to some of them. Um, Relationships with some of them just kind of broke up just between people and stuff because we had a couple people were dating and it was just like nope, that's not gonna work out and things like that. And I stay closer to the ones that I was more friends with than the others. So
Ruku says they had a 12-day Italy road trip for the last year of high school with some awesome memories, especially since your 18th birthday was on it. Oh, that's awesome.
nice.
Heck yeah. I don't know what they do in Europe for road trips. As a North American, I know like the places to go around my area were like the farthest I think I ever traveled on a school trip was I lived in Michigan for a lot of my high school years, and Chicago was always the place to go. They have the Natural History Museum, which is amazing, and that's the one museum. Like, no matter what point in time we went, I was like, let's go to the Natural. It's still amazing to this day. I went there like 3 years ago. I went to the Natural History Museum. Still an awesome place. I felt like a little kid again. They have the aquarium there, and this is such a crazy place. Um, but yeah, we would go on trips to the History Museum, and that's like every school. I moved around a lot, so I went to a few different schools. Every school was like the big trip was go down to Chicago, go to the Natural History Museum, and it was just that constantly. Yeah, and that was so I've been there. I want to say at least once a year for most of my middle, even elementary, middle school, and high school years. Was just like, it's now time to go down to the Natural History Museum. So that was really cool. Playing with all the buttons, and they have interactive stuff. You could press the buttons and make all the they always had like these different exhibitions. I remember the Egyptian exhibition. I got yelled at one time for getting uh too close to the stuff and being like, oh, it's
Touchy, touchy.
Anubis, he's so cool, yes. And I just wanted
Touchy.
yeah, it's touchy. It's my maybe that's where my VR instincts come
Your
from. Is
VR just
my
addiction to touching things.
my innate habit of just touching everything. Roni says, one of my favorite memories was when I was in elementary and middle school. You're visiting the Air and Space Museum and the National World War II Museum. Um, are you talking about the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum? Because that place is also awesome. I've been there before in Washington, D.C. We went there. I take it back. No, I take it back. We did travel there one time on a school trip very far away. I don't remember what it was for though. I just remember being there as a kid. In Washington D.C., there's the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, and it's very very neato frito bandito. And yeah, I take it back. That's a really good place too. Um,
I remember a school trip. This was back in elementary school. They took us to Montreal. So there was a bunch of teachers and supervisors who took a bunch of little grade 8 kids. So I don't know what that is, 12, 13 or something like that. I don't remember. All the way to Montreal. So that was an interesting trip.
Which museum was it? What's it called?
Alabama.
The Alabama Air and Space Museum. The Alabama Air and Space Museum. Okay, so it wasn't the Smithsonian. Okay, that's okay.
I gotta flip the question back onto you, Waffles. Is there any like pure memorable moments that in your childhood that you can pick out, or is there anything that like with your posse that you've done that like peeks out to you?
Yeah, we were a bunch of crazy kids. Let me tell you, I was so yeah. There's quite a few moments that I can think of that was just us being stupid kids. So I told you about my friend Wade. He lived in a very interesting household. It was very he was definitely lower on the end of, most of the other kids were upper middle class. His was very lower, his is not a very well taken care of house and stuff like that. And we'd still go, we didn't care as kids.
Hmm.
Whoever's house was his was always the coolest because nobody cared over at his house. His parents were very lax on their on
Sounds
their
about right.
supervision, and yeah, we'd always be playing over at his house. However, his house had its share of dangers that probably they shouldn't have been letting us kids hang around.
Right.
One being they had a I don't know exactly what the reason was,
Okay.
but they had a problem with their sewage system
Okay.
um behind their house. And at all times, no matter this was the entire like 7 or 8 years that I had hung out with them as friends. They had an open pit in their backyard. Um,
All right.
that was the an open pit into the septic tank of their
Oh, I feel like you
of their
mentioned this before.
their sewage system. Yeah, I did mention this before when we were talking at one point, Bran, but this was just so here's their porch right here. Here's they have a door and then a porch right after it, and then like I want to say 2 feet to the right, like not 2 feet, maybe like 10 or 15 feet. There is just a giant pit, you know, door, porch,
Pit.
massive sewage pit.
Pit.
And this pit, like almost all the time, was filled maybe, I want to say 4 feet down. It was just a giant circle of, maybe the pit was like, it was a good like 5-10 feet across. It was a pretty big pit. And it was just filled with this gray, stinky sludge. And it was bad. It was nasty. And all us kids, being the kids that we were, would always taunt each other and just be like, wouldn't want to fall in that pit. You better be careful. Loser has to go into the pit of death.
Lose your ass if you go in.
And we'd
Oh.
always, we never
Never
pushed each
actually
other
push
in.
someone in.
We never
Oh,
pushed
God.
anybody into this sewage pit, but we would play around it all the time as like a high stakes, like better not
Watch
fall,
out.
play tag around it. Well, as it turns out, if you play with fire enough, or if you play with sewage enough, something's gonna happen.
Oh no.
And me and Wade, we were playing tag around the pit. At least I think it was tag. I just remember us chasing each other in circles around this pit. I grabbed onto him and I was like, "You're it!" And he was still trying to run, and he's a bigger kid. And I was a very skinny, tiny
Oh
boy,
no.
and he just kept pulling me along. And I was trying to like, both of us, bloop, fell
Oh, that's
into. We fell,
awful.
6 or so feet into this
Oh.
pit of nasty, nasty sewage. And it was,
Oh God.
oh man, I remember just pulling myself out of the pit, and his grandpa runs out of the house and is like, "What happened?" And things like, I don't remember what he said. It's all a blur after I fell in. But he called my parents, and my parents came over and were like, "We gotta." They just looked at me and like,
You ain't coming back to the
they
house.
knew this was gonna happen at some point. They knew Wade's family, so they were just like, "Yup, this happened." And I remember smelling. I stunk for I want to say like days.
Oh god,
It took a
awful.
lot to get the smell of sewage off of me, and I
Oh, that
remember
sounds
going to
so bad.
school super stinky. I was a stinky
You
boy,
stinky boy, stinky wolf boy.
and Wade was no better. But at least we were comrades in the fact that we
And
both fell in the
comrades
sewage
and
pit.
stink. Oh my god, that sounds awful.
Comrades in stink. It was a. It was. I will never forget that.
That's
I've never smelled
experience.
anything so bad in my entire life. It was
What's the worst thing you've
nasty.
smelled? Myself.
Myself, my friend's sewage septic tank.
Stinky seal.
Oh, um, deadly. So this is the backstory behind the death in my summer car. The one where I fell into the septic tank. Yeah, there's there's a death in this video game I was playing where you can fall into a septic tank. I'm not gonna lie, it did bring back
Flashback
memories.
PTSD. Flashback.
Flashback PTSD. I was face palming pretty hard during that point in the game.
God.
I don't think I mentioned the me falling into the pit though. I might have. But that's one memory. Um yeah, there's all sorts of crazy things that we did. I remember we decided to try and go on our own camping trip without telling any parents, without telling anyone. We were like, guys, let's go camping in the woods.
Camping.
And one of my friends was like, yeah, I got my dad's lighter. We can start a fire in the woods and go camping.
It's. I
Yep.
got my task lighter. Oh no.
Yep.
Okay.
We were gone for a very long time without telling any of our parents because we wanted to go camping in the woods and go see what it's like. My friend Destiny, who lived next door, she was they were all kind of my best friends. Um they had a woods in the back. Um
Right.
they had a woods behind their house, a huge just a woods with nobody owned any property back there. I don't even know who owned it, but you would go there was a whole trail system through these woods, and a lot of our adventures would they would take us on this trail system through these woods, and we would always try and scare each other. And, it's really spooky back here. There was all sorts of like garbage. There was a place back there where somebody had well first off, if you went far back enough into these woods, there was an old abandoned house that had been abandoned for a very long time. Like it was like a 50-year-old abandoned house, collapsed. I don't know if anybody had lived there in the past 50 years. It was very old, and we would regularly go. We never once out of all the times we went back there, we never approached that house closer than 20 feet because we all thought it was haunted
Haunted.
AF.
Yeah, I was gonna say haunted house. Just you're gonna go step. Someone's gonna step into it and just get taken.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird how your mind plays tricks on you as a kid because I specifically remember one time going back there. I couldn't play with my friends at the moment. They were all indisposed. I think Destiny was doing something, and I decided to hop their fence because that's the kind of kid that I was. I just hopped their fence and went into the back of the woods to like just go explore. And I kid you not, this is a memory in my brain as a kid. I'm pretty sure I implanted it out of pure fear, but I went back to that old abandoned house and just kind of examined it for a while because I was very curious. We never approached it. We always talked about how haunted it was and things like that. And I remember going back there as a kid and seeing a person standing in that house, and I'm pretty sure it was like some object or a tree or something like that. But when you're a kid, you see stuff. You put things in your head. I saw a person in this house, and bolted
You
as fast
booked
as I
it.
can. I booked it so hard. I ran so fast, tripped over myself, flew over that fence, went inside and started crying to my mom.
I saw somebody. The house
And
is
she
haunted.
did, it was just blubbering like, blah! And I was so scared, because we weren't supposed to go back, and my parents, our parents didn't want us, rummaging through
Right.
old nasty houses and stuff like that. So I didn't want to tell her that I had gone back and done it. So I
Oh,
just cried. I just cried, and she had no idea what was wrong.
what
She's
is
just
wrong
like,
with this child?
I was just freaking out, and yeah, yeah, and there was old garbage piles in the back there, of old stuff, and we'd pretend that they were some witch in the woods would put these piles of junk in the back, and yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff we got up to. And the rest of our time would just be pretending we were playing video games. We'd pretend we were Sonic and just run around and try and run as fast as we could. I pretended I was Sonic the Hedgehog.
At least that's a little bit more normal. That seems about more right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's some crazy times. But yeah, I played with that posse of kids for a good chunk of my life. I want to say I was in Georgia, outside of Atlanta, for about seven years or so, something like that. And we eventually moved away, and I was a kid. I was just, I think it was just in between elementary school and middle school that I moved up to Michigan, and never saw any of them ever again after I moved. So
You have any
never got into
contacts or
contact
anything
with
with them?
them.
Like any email addresses or anything?
No way to get a hold of them or find them or know who they were. I don't even know their last names at this point. I asked
Wow.
my dad; he doesn't remember. Um,
Damn. That sucks.
yeah, there's all sorts of crazy times that we had. We did go back down to Georgia at one point on vacation, and I was just in like sixth grade of middle school, and I asked my parents to stop by so that I could go see my old friends again, but it didn't happen.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and for some, I don't know why I didn't call them. I was a kid. I didn't think anything, like, if they're not
Right
visibly
there.
there for me to talk to, you didn't think back on, like, oh, you could just call them or whatever. But I don't know, maybe I was too nervous as a kid. I don't know why I never got a hold of them again, but never saw them again. I don't know what they're up to.
I gotta ask because I haven't experienced it, but I know some people have. As a kid, what kind of toll does that take moving so often take on you? Or
uh
what kind of effects did it have on you, or if at all any?
it was it definitely took a toll on my ability to make new friends, because these are friends that I had had for most of my early developmental life. 8 years as a kid, that's no small, like, that's your entire elementary school. And I moved away from these kids, and that's a big part of why I was so shy, is because I had never learned how to make new friends. These were just the friends that had always been with me for my entire life, where I started having memories and developed, and never really got back on the friend train in terms of a posse I hung out with that was as interesting as that group. Um, it definitely, you take those, when you're a kid, you take those friends for granted, and you just like, those are my friends. Nothing's ever gonna change. This is gonna how it's gonna be forever. They're gonna be my friends till the end of time. And then I moved to middle school, and middle school is about that time when stuff starts getting, not only is it was it hard for me to make friends normally? It was also middle school is that time where people start to mature and it's a little harder for you to make friends. You can't just walk up and be like, "Hey, you want to play tag?"
You want to play? Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah, about middle school time. That's exactly when I moved. So it was harder for me to make friends. I still made friends. I made a pretty good group of friends in middle school, but it just it wasn't the same. I had a friend named Chris that was my friend for most of middle school and high school, and I lost contact with him about senior year of high school. I mostly played video games with him. Again, a recurring theme in my excuse me, a recurring theme in my life, video games. Uh he had all the cool video games and I would just spend nights and nights at his house and just absolutely do nothing but play video games. It was the best. It was such a good time. I remember we'd play Animal Crossing just non-stop, and I would look up all the cheat codes because we had like those like cheat code thingies for GameCube, and I would go down to we didn't have the internet over there, so I'd have to go down into town to the library to look up cheat codes for
To
Animal
look up
Crossing
for cheat codes for
and how to
Animal.
get all the cool stuff.
I like how you had to go to you took this trip all the way down to the library to go look up cheat codes.
Yep. Yep. That was like so many trips to the library went to go look up like walkthroughs for video games and stuff like that. That was yeah. It got us out of the house. It got us stopped. We weren't playing video games for a while when we went down there.
When we went downtown to go to the
Yeah.
library to look
To
up
look
cheat
up how to
codes.
get cheat codes for our video games. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's such a different culture now. It's just so many people have so much easier access to online now, internet and everything.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just you don't have to go to the library. You don't have to go to this internet cafe or some kind of sort around that. It's just right there.
Yep. You just have full. I can't imagine how having access to the internet for my entire childhood would have been. I can't comprehend that because it's just so much of my childhood was just me making do with video games and pretend and running around in circles and playing tag with each other that I spent very little time online
It's
when I was younger.
such a different culture now because you hear about these stories about like people like 4, 5, 3, and they have phones or something of some kind of sort,
Yeah.
and they're using it, and you're like, I I would never have a chance in hell in getting a phone at that age. Like even for me, I want by no means like phones, mobile phones were becoming more relevant, and cell phones, smartphones were starting to become a thing probably when I was that age. But like
Right.
by no means in hell would I ever have a chance of actually getting one to play games on or anything. Like if I wanted a game, it might have been DS or something, a small little console thing. But like still like shot. Like,
Yeah, just having that kind
goodness.
of information at your fingertips at all times. I went on journeys for information about anything outside of my littles. Like I went, we would travel down to the library just to go. Oh, the cheat code is VBYGZN. Yes, write that down. Okay, we're gone. And that was like, it was very hard to access the internet. I was in more a remote area during middle school and high school. I moved on to a very large Christmas tree farm, 80 acres of property, that had very slow internet, extremely slow internet. Um, so I didn't have exactly very good access to the internet, but yeah, it would just be it was so cool when I could just type in something and like other people have played this video game. This was a concept that I didn't even like fully like
Comprehend,
recognize as a
yeah.
kid that other people had possibly played the video. I thought like for some
I'm
reason
the
as a
only
kid I
one.
thought I'm the only one that's ever experienced this video game. You know, you could just go down. Like, I thought video games were like this easy thing that they would just pump out and like throw all over the place, and it would just be super easy, and it wasn't like a mass produced. But yeah, as a kid, when I found out that other people had played this video game, there was walkthroughs for it, I was like, oh, this is the greatest discovery of my life. Um, Ruku says that they remember a time where Pokemon Red Blue cheats and glitches are passed down by mouth. Yup. The story of Missing No was infamous throughout my school. The legendary Pokemon that you can only get by glitching out a Pokemon and surf on the beach. Pokemon was also a very huge part of my childhood too. Was there any like fads or anything like that that was really that you were into growing up?
Fads?
Yeah, like Pokemon was a
Um,
fad for a while, and there was all sorts of like
I
different.
can't think of any fads that I was really interested in at the time.
Yeah,
Uh, I think I
I
stayed
grew up in
away
the
from them.
time in elementary school where Pokemon trading cards were like the thing. That's what you did. You played with Pokemon trading cards. If you didn't have Pokemon cards in your school, you weren't cool.
There was a
Everybody had Pokemon
there was a
cards.
couple fads that happened, but I they died out pretty quickly, and I was never dedicated into them. I don't think there was a couple of them that I think I perceive. I can't remember a lot of them. They died out pretty quickly.
The Yeah, Pokemon. So in my when I was in, I want to say the last years of elementary school, everybody was into Digimon. The very first Digimon were these little like boxes were like little Tamagotchis where you'd stick together these Tamagotchis, and they could do battle with each other, but you have to take care of them and feed them every once in a while and stuff like that. So we had like these little Digimon. That was a massive fad for everybody had a Digimon.
I think we're
And
going. We're ending
say
up.
what?
We're going around in circles. I think this is bringing us back to some of the conversations we had on the gaming one.
What did I
I think you mentioned Digimon. I don't know how deep
I
you
think
went
that's when
into
we
it.
were talking about we were talking with Maz. I had this whole no, maybe not.
No, I
I
think you
can't
talked about
remember.
video games. I
Probably
think it was a
Digimon
couple.
was a huge thing. Um, I always my Digimon always starved because
My
I couldn't take care of anything. I never fed it.
the only thing
It
I
would
remember
always
is
become the crappy little slug monster that nobody could beat. My friends all had like these amazing like crazy angel winged crazy Digimon, and they would just kick my butt because I couldn't take care of this stupid slug. And then Pokemon cards became a huge thing, and I had such a huge collection of Pokemon cards, and I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared. It's just gone now. Some of those would have been worth a lot of money.
a lot of money. Yeah, the closest thing I can remember is Nintendo. Like that taking care of stuff is like there's that Nintendo Dogs thing on like Nintendo DS.
Oh yeah,
That's the closest thing I can remember to being like on like that
Nintendogs.
Nintendogs that were like you had to take care of something.
You
Like that's the
had to
closest
take care of these little Nintendogs, and yeah,
something. I like
at
that's
least you
the
didn't have to battle them
yeah,
and
that's
then
the difference. I didn't have to battle them or anything.
suffer at the fate of your friends' Nintendogs.
The Ten Dogs battle.
Nintendogs fight!
Oh god,
Go Chihuahua!
oh god,
Go Corgi!
oh my god. It's just
Yeah,
it's
there
just
was
Pokemon
Tamagotchis were a huge thing at one point too.
punch the dog.
Oh no.
No, don't punch the dog.
Yeah, so yeah, there was a few fads because we didn't have access to a lot of stuff as kids when I was growing up. In my good old boomer years in the
Boomer
early
years.
90s, uh it was just whatever the fad would just be whatever was pushed on us by television, and I watched a pretty decent amount of TV. If I wasn't playing with friends, I was
That's a
watching
big thing that's
TV.
changed. Is there's so much content that was on TV that you look
Yeah.
forward to, and now it's just Here's everything online. And TV's becoming irrelevant to a good standard. It's become quite
Oh yeah,
irrelevant
kids.
unless it's
Why get TV when you can get YouTube, which is kids have
unless it's
access
like
to that.
live television stuff, like sports events or certain things like that. Like even so, you can
Right.
find them on the internet a lot of times as well. Is there's a lot of packages being offered on the internet. TV is becoming irrelevant. TV packages, satellite TV, it's just irrelevant with the internet.
Yeah, when you have every video you could ever want at the tip of your fingertips. And when you're a kid, when you're a kid, you're not picky about content. You
No,
just
ooh,
whatever the heck
shiny,
you have easy
cool
access to is
explosions.
what you yeah, the easiest stuff that's you're able to get a hold of is exactly what you're going to watch. Fortnite videos, is whatever's the biggest thing on YouTube right now, that's what all the kids are watching because it's easy, you can get it instantly, instant gratification. As a kid, I would just turn it on to whatever cartoon channel happened to be on and just be like,
Well, it's
which
always
for me, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say it's always an interesting thing to look at um, kid quote unquote content creators, like people who dedicate their audience more towards the younger audience. I guess is the better way to say it. Is because they're as much as there's a lot of things that appeal to people, and it's not hard to find out what appeals to a younger audience. It's quite simple stuff, but just putting your time into it and being able to consistently do that is always the interesting thing because it's hard. Hard for some people to dedicate their time to a younger audience when you're 20 or older because
Oh yeah.
because it's such childish things that you got to take step by step and slowly and make it more just like appealing to that younger audience with these big colorful things or something like that or whatever the quote unquote fad is at the time, example Fortnite.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty of research that's been done and like people, they know how to market stuff to kids. I don't know the details on that. I'm pretty sure they've done extensive research
Oh
on
yeah,
how to what kids are easily, what's easy for them to click on, what are they going to watch and things like that. And I'm sure it's a huge competitive market to try and grab kids' attention nowadays. So kids nowadays they have all these different options. They got so many different things they could watch, and that, I mean, I can't even begin to understand like how that would have affected me if I had had access to that much information or that much entertainment all at once instead of making my own entertainment or just whatever was on TV, which was most of the time Ninja Turtles when I was a kid, which
well,
I loved.
it's unsurprising because there's a lot of these big corporations that probably stuff a lot of money into it to find out what's relevant, which is why you have groups of people that get together. You have these experimental groups that you get together and they test it on kids or whoever at the time.
I'm sure, yeah, they have a focus group.
There
So
you go.
they
That's
just
the word I
have
was looking for. A
kids
focus
like,
group.
yeah, they got kid focus groups. Now, which one were you most addicted to, Jimmy? I can't stop watching this one. Put that on YouTube right now.
Yeah, it's so easy to pump out that kind of content, but it's so different. It's just such a different environment.
What are we on about now? Well, at this point, I'm thinking of renaming my stream title to "Boomer Talks About the Good Old Days." Before the age of the internet.
Before the age of the internet, we had to watch
Yeah,
things
you
on
kids and your
TV.
new fangled devices, your YouTubes and your MySpaces and
Your mice. That's a boomer thing. That's a boomer thing. MySpace.
I remember when I was just getting out of high school, everybody was into MySpace all of a sudden.
Thing Skype.
Yep, and everybody was talking about MySpace, and I never got into the MySpace fad
Facebook.
ever.
Facebook was always a big thing. Was always a big thing.
Oh
when
no,
you're-
no, MySpace had been around for like 3 years. When
Oh,
I
I
was
know
in high
that.
school, and
Before
then
that, yeah.
Facebook, all of a sudden everybody started using Facebook.
Back
They're like,
in my
it's
day.
the cool thing. I remember as a senior in high school, people are like, you're not using Facebook? All the college kids are using it, which was originally what it was.
Yep.
Was for college students to talk to each other about projects and things like that. And it just somehow seeped through the rest of society. And when I was a senior in high school, everybody was like, all the college kids are using Facebook. We should use it too. And then we grew up, and everybody who grew up past, after college and high school was on Facebook. So it just became the new norm.
I remember watching the documentary or the movie or whatever they called it of the growth of Facebook or whatever it was. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember watching that when I was younger. It was just always it was kind of interesting to see just how it was supposed to be this certain college of for social networking, and then it grew just into this big thing, and obviously a bunch of lawsuits happened at that because unsurprisingly
Yeah.
when you have a big thing, lawsuits are going to come in because people are going to try to grab their portion of it.
Oh,
But
yeah, of course, right.
but at the time it was such a big thing, and now it's just one of those things where it's become not very used and also known for worse things than it should be.
Yeah, I think
Privacy
that's
to
true of
be
like anything that grows to that kind of size, especially a social media type of platform. They're just gonna, explode, and it's
now
gonna
people don't
become
want come
a
touch
mutation
fucking
of what it
Facebook
used
with
to
a
be.
10-foot pole because of privacy things. A great example is Oculus, is that they're making people have an or a Facebook
I
account,
think
which
we
is
touched on this
ridiculous.
before. Dude, I hate that's the whole reason I took back
Yeah.
the Rift S, because I didn't want to log
Yeah.
into my Facebook page, but
But yeah,
that's
but
just,
there we go.
I don't know
think
if
the
that's
best
just me being stubborn, but
no, I
I
think it's
don't
the most
want to
relevant
I don't
example
want to
though
deal with that.
of Facebook collapsing on itself and people not wanting to touch it because the people are afraid of privacy and things, and Facebook's known for that, and it's
Yeah,
a ridiculous thing.
yeah.
But it's at the time it was such a big thing, and even for me, it was just in elementary school and stuff. It was still growing up. It was still quite a big thing, and then it just hit a wall.
Yeah, I remember the worst thing we had to worry about was online predators. On we Another thing, when it first started taking off, everybody was into AOL. I don't know if you
I know
know
AOL,
about
yeah.
AOL. I don't know how
I'm not
quickly that
I'm not very familiar with it, but I do know of AOL.
everybody in the early days of the 90s, or not, it was late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Everybody had AOL online was the thing. If you didn't have AOL, you didn't have internet, is essentially how it was. The good old fashioned dial up internet. um I remember, Pokemon was such a fad back then. I remember I would go into online chat rooms on AOL Online, and uh, I would go find Pokemon chat rooms, and there would be entire. I would spend a good chunk of time going into Pokemon chat rooms and typing at people, "Hey, do you want to do a Pokemon battle?" And it was so funny. We would go into like this private, and they would type me back, "Yeah, let's go into a Pokemon battle." And they would type me back, and we'd go into a private chat room, and it would just be like, "I choose you, Pikachu." I'd be like, "I choose you, Pikachu." And then they would type in, it would essentially just be like playing the game on Game Boy, except for nobody agreed on any winners or losers or HP or any mechanics whatsoever. We just type in, "Pikachu does Thunderbolt," and the other person would be like, "It's super effective." And then almost I want to say 99% of the time, it would just be an unresolved, like, "No, my Pikachu should win because it's better against your water type." And it would just end in an argument, and then I would just move on and go into the next chat room and do another Pokemon battle. That's how I spent my middle school years.
Okay.
Pokemon chat experience version, yeah. Pokemon roleplay is
Pokemon
essentially
roleplay.
what it was.
Oh my
Which
goodness.
is something, that's another thing we'd do as kids, is pretend we were playing Pokemon. For a very long time. That was another. I would pretend that we were Sonic. I pretend my friend Wade had a Super Nintendo game called Mystical Ninja, and we would play that all the time. And we would pretend we were mystical ninjas from Japan. And then Pokemon, we'd pretend we were Pokemon trainers, and we'd go around There was always one friend that was designated to be the Pokemon, and then the rest of the friends were trainers, and we'd all try to catch the friend that was the Pokemon. So they just run around going Jigglypuff, and we'd pretend to throw Pokeballs like we throw tennis balls at them.
I'm gonna catch you. Throw a tennis ball. Hits the guy in the head. Just hits your friend. Just hits your friend in the head. Just knocks him out. Yep. And it's just like, I caught him. Starts dragging.
I caught him. I got the Jigglypuff, and he's just sitting there, just going, Jigglypuff. Shut up and stay in your Pokeball.
Commits to the role play. Just keeps saying Jigglypuff.
No, it was forbidden.
I don't have it right
if
now.
you were stuck with a role, you would have to be that role, or else you'd be kicked out of the group.
It's just
as kids. We stuck to our role play.
As you're in pain, just Jigglypuff.
Jigglypuff.
Oh my god.
Your friends had Naruto and Yu-Gi-Oh. Yep, Yu-Gi-Oh. I got into it for a while. You can remember shouting Bakugan many times. Yep. Power Rangers. I'm a boomer 90s kid.
Ah, yes, Power Rangers.
Two things that shaped a lot of my childhood: Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. That's another thing we'd pretend we were. We would pretend we were Power Rangers. A lot.
That makes sense.
And we would always do like those jump explosions that they used to do in Power Rangers. We'd pretend something was exploding behind us and jump around and hit each other in the face with kung fu moves, which never turned out good, but we did it anyway. And they would almost 100% of the time be someone running back to their parents crying because we were playing Kung Fu Power Rangers. So that was that was another thing we pretended.
That reminds me of when I was in primary school. We had when we had recess when it was winter, we played what we called tackle soccer.
Talker soccer?
Or tackle soccer.
Tackle soccer. Oh, okay.
It would be full violence of just kids running at each other while we're dressed in just our our snow equipment, or like our jackets and snow pants and everything, and we'd be playing soccer on ice. because we're outside and it just
you'd be playing tackle soccer on ice.
Yeah, pretty much, because up here in Canada, it's just when it's deep winter, you have this hard packed snow. And I'm sure you get it in Michigan at some points, sometimes as well. Is you get that snow that's like hard packed, and then you get sometimes where it's layered, and the top layer is just like ice slightly.
You have entire frozen streets.
Yeah, that's basically what we played on top of. We had a basketball court that basically got snowed on, and then when it got cold enough, sometimes it was a little bit icy, and we just played on top of that. And you would have people who are sliding across it, just trying to get the soccer ball. While we had two little gloves on the side as nets. Someone would get injured sometimes. I had a friend who got injured once.
Sometimes people would get injured playing tackle soccer.
It was interesting. It was fun. It was funny. No one got seriously injured, but it was definitely funny.
Oh, here's a question. Did you ever break any bones as a kid?
I never broke any bones. I did. When I was playing hockey, a guy took a stick to my wrist, and I slightly fractured it, but I never broke anything. I was in a splint for a couple days, or for like a week or something, just on my wrist. But because he took a stick and he just hit it right here on the bone.
Oh, okay.
So it hurt when I was younger, but I didn't break it or anything. It just couldn't move it for a couple days.
Yeah, I never broke any bones either. The worst I ever injured myself was I took a baseball to the face.
Oh, if we're talking about that, I've taken a lot of shit to the face.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to the face. But this I almost got my tongue sliced off, because my tongue, for some reason, I had bit my tongue so bad that it was like,
oh god,
a massive chunk of my tongue got. So I almost lost my tongue.
God,
That
that's
happened.
awful. Yeah, no, because I played baseball, I get a lot of baseballs to the face. I just took cooking. I went down and I would just try to get the ball and it would just bounce up and hit you in the face.
Yep.
I remember when I was a child, when my dad was shoveling snow, I accidentally walked behind him, and as he was throwing it back, I got caught in the just below my eye with the back of the shovel. That was bad.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, that sounds bad. Fire says you found it funny that Red Ranger is Johnny Young
To
Bosch,
face
who
the
is
sun.
Chicago Kurosaki. Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach. Oh, he went from Power Rangers to anime. That's not a far leap. I mean,
Same
I it
thing.
my mind was blown when I found out that they were just the Japanese actors that they took the Power Rangers when they were in their suits. It was the Japanese actors doing the stunts and stuff like that, and it was just the other the English voiceovers that were. It wasn't actually them in suits. I took a good like 30 minutes just going. Everything changed. Everything in
Everything.
my childhood is different. I had no
I've been
idea for the
lied
longest
to.
time. I've been lied to this whole time.
My whole child has been a lie.
Took a lot of things to the balls and a lot of things to the face. Yep.
That's the downside of playing sports is I took a lot of there's a lot of different things like I got checked, I got soccer balls. I almost got hit by a golf ball in the back of the head. Lots.
Ooh.
I took a baseball back to the side of my arm. Took a lot of baseballs to
Somehow
the
never
back.
broke anything though. Yeah.
No, I haven't broken anything. Nothing was hard enough to break, but I definitely took a lot of pain. I was an attraction for pain. I jammed my finger on basketballs or volleyballs several times when I was in gym.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot. I was injury prone. It was bad. I was so injury prone.
Well, that's miraculous that you
I
got
never
that far
broke
without.
anything, but I was injury
Yeah.
prone. I got hit by a ton of things. It was awful. I don't think I could
Yeah, when I
count.
took my baseball to the face, it was my cousin. I had a cousin that we'd go to their house every so often, and for some reason, he decided that he wanted to practice his pitching throw with me, and he said he he gave me an umpire's outfit. I'm talking like a
The full
full
mask and
like
everything.
the
Yeah.
vest and the mask.
Yeah.
The mask didn't have the face part on it though, so it didn't do anything. It was just
Oh,
the
you had a catcher's helmet.
yeah. I had the helmet,
Did it have flaps
no
on it?
face.
Did it have flaps on it?
I don't. It was a long time
Okay,
ago.
because I was wondering if he just gave you a helmet or a catcher's helmet, because the catcher's helmet doesn't have flaps on it on the side, and then a normal helmet would have flaps to keep it on your head.
I just remember him going. He gave me this whole setup in this garb and said, "Okay, so here's the deal. I'm gonna throw the ball at you as hard as I can.
That's always a good start.
We're gonna test out this umpire gear and see. It's not going to hurt at all.
Oh no,
You'll
that's
be
a lie.
fine."
That's a lie.
And me as a kid was like,
Okay.
"Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, that's awesome. You get hit with a ball and not feel anything. That's the best thing ever." He threw the ball at me once, and it hit the chest thing, and I went, and it did hurt.
Oh yeah.
It's not like
No,
it doesn't
no,
hurt.
no,
And I was
no.
like, "It's fine. It's great. No, try it again. No, it's fine.
It's this. It's the
This
padding.
vest works great."
The padding's this thick on
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
not
catcher
very
cushion.
thick.
It's not very thick. It's supposed to
Yeah.
absorb it, but it's gonna hurt.
So we did it again.
I was a
Second
catcher,
shot,
believe me.
right, I had my tongue sticking out or something because he threw it right at my mouth. I don't know how I didn't lose any teeth, but I lost a decent chunk of my tongue.
What Waffles was playing was imagining playing video games.
Yeah, that was me almost all the time as a kid too. I was yeah that so yeah. I had to get some surgery or something like that on my tongue. I can't remember the details, but it was pretty bad. It was bleeding for a very long time.
the most things when I got hit by baseballs, the things that I can remember from it was there was a lot of times it was practicing ground balls, so you would have it hit the ground and then it would take a weird bounce and hit you in the face.
Yep.
That's the majority of the times what
Yeah.
would happen when I was playing baseball. But there was one time where I was playing with my best friend. So this is the same guy who got me into baseball, and I was talking at the beginning of the thing. He threw we were playing catch, and we were playing in a triangle form. So you play so you can have it with three guys. So you throw it one and come back. I think I
Right.
threw it to the guy to my left. I looked away for a second and I wasn't paying attention. And my best friend caught it and turned to throw it to me. I'm like, okay, turn back, and all I remember is seeing this baseball come up right in my face. It hit me directly in the face. I'm like, wow, fuck.
Did you get a black eye?
No, I think I got a black eye, and I sat out for a second, but I was just, it was fine. It wasn't that hard, but I just remember I looked away for a second, looked back, and he didn't realize I wasn't paying attention, and it just hit me directly in the face. I'm like, oh well then.
I remember. Did you ever get like? Did you ever get knocked unconscious or anything like?
I
Super bad?
I never had a concussion or anything.
I had a slight concussion once as a kid.
My one of my friends
Playing
had a
soccer.
concussion. Because he fell on
Soccer
ice.
is terrifying. Oh yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, the playing on ice will do it. Fire says the worst was casing a jump in motocross and smashing your nuts on the seat of a bike.
Oh.
Uh-uh.
Oh. No.
No, don't like that.
It's-
No, just the thought of that.
And that's in wine sports. More of the times I have wore a cup. There's been a lot of times where I've just worn a cup because that's sports, and
No.
baseball or hockey or soccer. Not as much in soccer, but hockey and baseball. You wear a cup. You 100% wear a cup.
The only time I ever did motor anything was I would just sit on the back while my uncle drove a motorbike, and he would take a jump, and then I do remember the pain that comes after you land that jump is oh, you're like,
Between, yeah.
hooray, this is awesome. Yeah, you're on a jump.
Oh.
Oh, please don't take any more jumps. No.
It's just like slow motion before you hit the ground. Just like no.
Like, how is it? Because I was smaller. You know, I didn't have anything. You know, my uncle had the foot things that he was, you know, putting his feet on,
Right.
that could lift him slightly off of the motorbike, and I
right.
was just holding on to him, and yeah, I didn't have anything like that, so the full brunt would just be right there.
Oh
and just
god.
like, I never want to use a motorbike ever again.
That's the no spot.
That's yeah.
Oh my
It
god.
yeah, it was no, I blacked out once playing soccer in school. It was just during a regular we went outdoors for a soccer game, and I was just, you know, when I played sports, I would just run at everything because I was just a crazy psycho kid. You know how sports
Yeah.
is when you're kids. It's just like everybody runs toward the ball at once. And I remember they hit. There was a kick. The ball flew over and hit a spot on the other side of the field, and there was two people that were close to it. Me and another kid. I forgot his name. He was a skinnier kid, very fast kid. But I was also an extremely fast kid. I was the fastest kid in my school, actually, a few points. I
Track
remember
star
winning.
waffles.
I was really effing fast.
Track star waffles.
So we both ran at the ball. He, for some reason, had the bright idea to, instead of kick the ball, he would jump over it so that he could kick it in a different direction. I'm not sure what his plan was. So I was going for kicking the ball. He was going for jumping over the ball. we both arrived there at the exact same time, and he went whoosh, jumped over, and I went poof, and just slammed face first right into this guy at full like Mach 10
Oh
speed
no.
running at this ball. And I don't remember anything that happened up after that. I just blacked
Blacked
out.
out. Oh god.
Zero consciousness. I remember I opened my eyes like, movie style, when someone opens their eyes and everybody's just leaning over you and being like, is he
Like, you
dead?
okay?
You okay? And just opening my eyes, and just everybody, the entire class is looking over my face. And I was just like, and then I
Hi.
just started bawling. I just started crying because my brain couldn't register what was happening. It didn't. I didn't know what happened. All far as I knew, I was in incredible pain. Something I had plowed into something, and I just started crying. And the gym teacher was just like, "Okay, he doesn't have to play anymore. We're gonna go sit him over in this
Where,
corner."
where
I don't
you're
think they'd
gonna
realized I was in a concussion, that I had blacked out, because I never got any medical attention. I just kind of just cried in a corner for the next half hour while everybody played soccer, and that was the only time I ever blacked out or anything like that. Immortal, thank you for redeeming Waffles is Too Sexy, one of my syrup redemptions that I have. Thank you, Immortal. Right back at you, buddy.
right back at you. I think that's been there for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, I was really fast in grade school. I took pride in how fast I was. I would win most every race against all the kids. There was one kid. There was a black kid named Donald, I think, and me and him were always like neck and neck. We were so competitive with each other in every like 100-meter dash. We were kids. It wasn't a 100-meter dash. It was something. It was much smaller. I can't
50.
remember what the yeah.
Or that.
It was a very small dash, but we would always be competing. Um, I say I was the fastest in my school, but he was actually the fastest. I beat him one time. One time I beat him, and he was so pissed because it was during a little picnic thing that the whole school had been doing, and we were running at, you know, full speed, and the whole student body was watching because this was like a rivalry that had been going on for a very long time, and I was always
Rivalry.
right behind him, but I could never beat him. Um, I had been practicing my technique, and I had discovered that right at the end of your sprint, if you pushed off with your leg at full force for that last little bit, you could get a very momentary boost of speed. And we were neck and neck, neck and neck, and neck and neck, and then at the very end, I pushed off with my leg and just did like a leap, like a flying leap to the finish line at full speed, and I was declared the victor. But he was like, "He jumped. This isn't a jumping competition. He jumped. No, it's not." He never admitted for the entirety of for the rest of the time that I had known him that I had won that race because I cheated, because I jumped.
You jumped, even though
I don't know what the rules are for sprinting, but I don't think jumping at the end is against the rules. But he never admitted that defeat. But I always felt accomplished that I finally beat him. It's because I have very long legs, very very long leg boy.
Yeah, I was never extremely good at track, but there was so many different things that I was decent at. I remember when I was younger, I used to be a really good fast skater. That was something I took pride in. I wasn't ever the fastest, but I was decently fast for what I did.
True Canadian.
It's easier to I found as long as you do the technique right, it's not too hard to be a fast skater.
Ice skating or
ice skating,
or roller skating?
I can do
Okay.
roller skating, and there's no real difference to me. Obviously, just one's on concrete and one's on ice. But when you're on wheels versus skates, I
Did you
could
ever
probably.
try rollerblading?
I have rollerblades. I just never did it at a park, like an actual roller skating rink, quote unquote. I did it
Oh,
outside
right,
or
right, yeah.
down in my basement or something.
I tried roller skates a few times, but my feet would not listen to me. My
What about ice
thing
skating?
about
Have you
having
done?
long legs is there's like there's terrible I can run really fast, but I can't coordinate my legs to do anything I tell them to because there's like I swear there's a delay with my brain sensory input reaching my legs because they're
So,
so
so
long.
can you
So
not do ice skating? Have you ever tried ice skating?
I tried it a few times. It was enough for me to just be able to stand up straight at any point and manage to actually ice skate.
So I need to
Uh,
take you ice skating. Is that what you're saying? Is that if I ever see you to take you ice
show
skating?
me your
I haven't ice
your
skated
ice
in a while,
skating
to be honest.
prowess.
But
Do some pirouettes.
oh, I can't. I'm not a figure skater. I can't do a figure skate. I do speed
That's
skating, but I
nonsense.
can't do
You're a
figure skating.
Canadian. All Canadians can figure skate.
The funny thing is, the bunch of friends that I had in my group, most of them didn't play hockey or stuff. There's only very few of them that actually played hockey or could skate like well. It was quite funny. Like out of these bunch of these Canadians, I was like one of the only people who actually did hockey and skating and
Really?
stuff. That was the funny part. Is that it's just like a lot of people are like, oh, like yeah, Canadians ice hockey and stuff, and it's the stereotype. But like the funny thing is there's a lot of people who do skate and stuff, but it was the majority of the people I was friends with actually didn't enjoy it that much. So I was like the one who took it
Did you
seriously.
play ice hockey at all?
I played hockey. There was a lot of my childhood. I enjoy hockey.
Okay.
I have equipment
Yeah.
upstairs still. I just haven't played
Yeah.
in a while.
When I was growing up, this 80-acre property I had, this huge Christmas tree farm. There was a large kind of a pool in the backyard, a pond. It was very disgusting most of the year. It was a very like overgrown pond with just algae that would be there for most of the year. So we never could swim in it, but we would try ice skating on it um, every winter, and it was extremely dangerous. I don't know how my parents let us ice skate on this pond because it didn't freeze over
Oh, did it not? Okay,
very
that's yeah, I was
much.
gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, it was enough, but like it wasn't a whole. It was not more than I want to say. Maybe a foot, a foot of ice at most in a few places, and so we'd ice skate on it, and all I remember about ice skating was how much ice skates hurt your ankles. How
Depends how I
how
yeah.
much they
Yeah.
mess up your ankles.
If you don't tie them
Uh,
right, or if you tie them too tight, they hurt. Otherwise, they're not
yeah,
too bad.
you have to like tie them very specifically. You have to tie them really
Well,
well and stuff like
yeah,
that.
because
So
you have to tie them right so that they're tight enough. They don't hurt, but they're tight enough that when you go around corners, you don't break your ankles. Because if you tie them too loosely, you slip, you're gonna break your ankle.
right, yeah. So that's what I would tie them tight, and then they would hurt, and then I would tie them loosely, and then I'd be like, oh, this feels good, and then I would just ice skate for like a few minutes, and suddenly just so yeah, never really got the hang of ice skating
I,
and stuff like that.
there's always a difference between outside rinks and inside rinks because outside rinks are a lot harder because they're not zamboni, they're not smooth. But if you ever go to an indoor rink, it's a lot easier because you don't have that rough edge.
Yeah, we did some things to smooth it out. I remember we took
Hot water or something
oh
and put it over.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, we took hot water, put it over it, tried to smooth it out and stuff like that. So it was kind of smooth. It wasn't Zamboni level or anything like that, but it was smooth enough for us to ice skate on, and that was
I
pretty cool.
I didn't mind. We over here we have a public ice skating rink that they do every winter that they put this special liquid down that freezes over quickly and makes it a public ice rink. But I always hated it just because I hate outdoor rinks. That's plainly why. It's because I'm so used to indoor rinks, and
I
I
don't
used to
want to
play.
be outdoors. I
No,
want to be
no,
indoors.
it's not even that. It's the fact that it's just the rink quality. It's just when you play hockey and stuff, you're so used to such a specific quality of ice being so smooth, and when you go to a public rink that's all choppy and everything, and it wrecks your skates more than you can do anything with. It's so annoying. So I always hated outdoor rinks because of just how bad they were. So I always loved skating indoors.
I never tried an indoor rink. Oh, I do remember.
We had
Did you
to.
guys have like roller skating rinks? Were
I
you
don't
in the
ever.
time period where roller
I
skating
don't even
rinks were
think.
still
I don't think I ever did.
popular?
I don't
Oh
think I
man,
did.
that's another, as a '90s kid,
I have
another huge
rollerblades.
popular thing.
I have rollerblades, but I never went to a roller skating rink.
I think I must have gone to the roller skating rink for almost every kid's birthday party was
Okay,
at a roller skating rink.
I gotta ask because there's this always this stereotype with rollerblades. Was it like the stereotypical like '80s rollerblades that got the four
The four
wheels,
wheels?
like
Oh yeah.
the two by two?
Yep.
Okay.
It was always the four wheels. There was a few kids who thought they were cool that would use
The
the
skate
single
blade.
the rollerblades. Yeah.
See, because that's what I
But
have, and I always find it weird seeing the two by twos because it's just like because I'm used to ice skating. I like the blade.
yeah, there was like it would just be us going around in circles on roller skates listening to Ghostbusters, mostly Ghostbusters. I don't I don't know what it was in the 90s with, and if anybody from the 90s can back me up on this, they would not stop playing Ghostbusters. Every single skating rink I'd ever been to as a kid, for some reason, played Ghostbusters and Barbie Girl. I don't know why those are the two smash hits for roller skating rinks in the 90s, at least around where I was. Um, but I mean, I moved from Georgia to Michigan, and still the same thing in both places. Uh, just Ghostbusters on loop,
That reminds,
almost.
it does remind me of the time where I actually rented out a ice skating rink for a birthday party of mine, and I invited a couple
Oh,
friends. It was quite fun.
okay. So you did go to the ice skating rink a few times and stuff like that.
Oh, I played hockey, so I always went to the ice skating rink. I was always there. It was
Oh, okay.
every
Oh,
weekend.
you're talking about ice skating.
Yeah.
Okay, not roller skating.
No,
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
it was ice skating. I rented out a whole entire rink for a birthday, and it was cool. Like you played
That
your
was
own.
cool.
You could play your own music and everything if you had the right cables. So I did.
Okay,
So
nice.
I didn't have Ghostbusters and stuff playing constantly, but I invited a couple
Listen
friends. It was
out.
quite fun.
I could sing the whole Ghostbusters theme by heart. I knew it as by heart as a kid because it's all we heard. That's an American thing. You can't help me, Ruko. What
That's an American
I'm
thing.
curious what they played in Europe. In America, it was Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters. Get DMCA.
but it was like super. It was still an amazing fun time, mostly because all those skating rinks had arcades. And if you can guess where I spent most of my time when I went to a skating rink or a bowling alley
I was gonna
or
say bowling
anywhere
alley is the
else that
same thing.
happened to have arcades, most of my time was
I,
spent
I
over at the arcade.
I miss bowling. There used to be a bowling alley near me, but they closed down like a long time ago. But like I
Oh,
remember
really?
going bowling for a couple birthday parties. Then that was always interesting. Just going bowling.
It's a pretty popular thing still over here. There's plenty of bowling alleys around where I'm at, and it was a very popular pastime before 2020. Still know a lot of people who went bowling on a regular basis.
I'd like to go bowling again once COVID ends. Something I'd like
Yeah,
to do.
bowling's a great time. Yeah, bowling's always fun. I used to be really good at that when I was a kid
Oh
too. I used to
shit!
be great at sports when I was a kid and just suddenly suck at all of them as an adult. Uh,
I
as my
couldn't.
hand-eye coordination slowly melts
I wasn't great
over
at bowling. I
time.
was okay at it. I wasn't great. I was great at a lot of sports. I was great. I'm great at. I was okay at baseball. I was okay at hockey. Good at golf. I was okay at tennis. Badminton was something I was decent at.
Oh
Um,
yeah, badminton. Yeah,
that was kind of it. Soccer I was okay at. And then anything with
I
hand-eye coordination, I was decent at.
I tried to play baseball when I was a kid, but I had had PTSD from the ball hitting my face, so I'd always be scared of the ball, and
I had
didn't
P-
get. I did that for like a year, and I was like, no,
I had
no,
PTSD too from getting hit by so many, but I just
yeah.
stuck through it. And
I
I
was
continued.
always terrified of that baseball. They'd throw pitches at me, and I'd just be like, nope.
See, the worst part is I was a catcher, so
Mm.
I was always
I was in the outfield. I
uh,
was just like the person like playing with their gum and just like sitting in the grass going,
nope. I was back. I was front and center. I was when we were younger. There was a guy who dropped down from rep baseball, so this is higher tier baseball than what we were playing, just at a casual level, or house league we called it. But he dropped up from being trained every day to our league. So this guy threw hard, like because he trained
yeah.
himself to throw hard. So when he dropped down, he threw hard, and at the time it was either my dad or someone who was just like who was a coach and just like, Brandon, you're catching him, because I was the most trained catcher there, because I caught the most things. So
Good luck, have fun. Hope you don't get hit.
so you
In
can
the
imagine it
balls.
as me is this guy can throw different pitches and really hard too, and I'm just standing behind that plate and I gotta catch this in my glove and hope that it doesn't hit my fucking palm. So I learned the
Did
hard
you
way
ever get?
about how to catch
Yeah.
him, but I was the best person to catch him because
Did you
I was
ever get seriously injured as the catcher? Like, did the ball ever
no I,
slap you in the arm or something? And you're just
I
like, ah.
I got hit a couple times and I got hit by a bat
Yeah.
by someone by taking too big of a swing.
Or
Uh,
that, yeah. Or getting hit by
nothing serious. I never got injured seriously. I was a decent catcher at the time. I knew what I was doing, and that's kind of the position I liked. But it's one of those things where it's just like, not as bad. Just catch the ball. Just hope to God you catch the ball.
I tried track as well.
I hope
But
you did,
I,
considering you said you
yeah,
were
I
like
was
second
really good
fastest.
at it, but it was boring to me. I didn't have fun doing track, so I never really pursued it very well. It was probably the sport I had the most promise in, but
knew
I was just like, why running when I could video games?
I knew a
But
couple people who were track stars and really good at running, but I was like that wasn't for me. I was never the fastest runner.
yeah, I had very long legs, and I could do track pretty well, but yeah, whenever those like we'd have little school competitions like sports festivals and
Track
stuff
and
like that.
field events.
Yep, track and fields, I would always just do the dashes and the long jump, and those I would actually do pretty good at those. Um, but
Yeah, I
nope,
remember
never
running
really
long.
pursued sports. I was a band kid.
Band kid.
I
Yeah, I never got
Yeah,
into instruments that much. That was the thing.
I played the cornet,
I
which
did
is like a trumpet.
I did theater for a little bit, but I did production theater, so I was behind the scenes rather than the actual person on stage.
Okay,
So I got
you,
one time I was in charge of props, and another time I did backstage work, doing sound. So you can see where my interest to sound came in. But I did a little bit of production in lighting booth and sound. So
you were like a stagehand
in theater, yeah.
in drama class
It,
or
it was an actual
whatever
theater
they called it.
production, but
Oh,
so
okay.
so not even just drama class. It was an actual theater production.
Was this a school thing or was this like?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right. So it was theater class. They
theater
would always
class,
just call
extra
it
time.
drama in my school.
It
Yeah,
wasn't even a class. It was an extracurricular,
drama club.
kind of,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it was. Yeah,
But that's kind of where you can see my interest for sound came in. Is that all that being a part of that was just like, I like it up here. I like
I
like
like
this
doing
stuff.
sound
This stuff looks cool. I like the buttons.
Yeah,
I like the flashy things and everything. And I like not being on stage.
yeah. That's why I turned to you for all my sound advice.
Yeah, it was
'Cause,
just that was my biggest thing. Was just like, I don't want to be on the stage. I have stage fright. I'm like I said, I'm shy, so I had stage fright. I was terrified of being up there. So I was just like, as much as I probably could have been a theater person and did well, like actually doing the actual theater stuff and acting, like I think I could do it pretty well. It's like I had enough memory to know the lines and everything. And after listening to them and knowing your cues and everything, you're already learning the lines anyways. But I just had
Yeah.
stage fright, so I was just like, I like it up here. I
Me
like
too. I
being in
had
the
a little
back.
bit of stage fright. Yeah. I never really did well on stage. I probably could have been really good as a theater kid, but just didn't do well on stage. Was really good at acting and pretending and doing all sorts of because my entire life was filled with imagination. I was a very imaginative kid. I was very creative, very imaginative, and that's what it all revolved around. But just couldn't deal with getting in front of people.
No, no, no.
Sugar says she was a chorus kind of gal. Yeah, chorus. I had a lot of chorus friends.
I did a bit of
Um,
choir. When I was really young, choir was
yeah,
something.
choir probably would have been a better pursuit for me. I think I probably would have done better in choir than I did in band. But all my friends were in band. I had friends in band, so I joined band and I did the trumpet. I was pretty good at it, but as I got into high school, I didn't care as much about being good at trumpet, so I kind of just didn't do very good with it.
I tried to play a trumpet. I wasn't great at it.
Maz did
You did
Maz did
backstage.
backstage and lighting dash sound too.
Yay, nice. There
Oh
we go,
yeah.
Maz.
Yeah, you guys got something in common.
School
And
photographer.
was a school
I
photographer.
was never a school photographer. I always took on. I did like photography later on though. I did a class on Photoshop and stuff for a short time.
I yeah. Yeah. Photography would have been a cool class. We didn't really have a photography club where I grew up. We were in a very small podunk high school. There wasn't a lot of extracurricular activities. There was band and choir and like after school sports, and that was it. There was hardly even a drama club. There wasn't really a theater class actually. There was not until I got into a bigger high school did they actually have a theater class. Art club stuff, yeah, art club. Yeah, they had art too. They did have art. They had art class, but there was no separated drama class in middle school. In high school, there was a drama class, and it was kind of not that there was like a few kids in drama class, but it wasn't that big. It was a tiny place because it was such a small. I grew up in a very tiny area, so it wasn't a very big school. Photography was really fun. You have tons of crazy photos from sports days. Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be a cool. Like, did you have like a school newspaper where you would take your pictures and put them in a newspaper and stuff like that? That would have been interesting if
We
I
had a
was in
school
your
newspaper. It
school.
was lame.
It was
It
lame.
was so bad.
Nobody read it.
No, no one
Uh,
really did.
we
It was
didn't have
awful.
a school newspaper.
I
um,
didn't do much with it. I didn't even read it, but I remember that they did do one. Awful.
I mean, yeah, it's a newspaper made by kids. Yeah, what are you gonna expect? But
It was a newspaper. That was. What do you expect?
it was a
Should,
newspaper.
that's
Yeah,
what you should. That's what it should be like.
you were on the yearbook committee and newspaper
Oh wow.
and the prom. Oh dang,
Wow, man.
you were in the newspaper painting a window in town for art club. Oh, nice. The school newspaper, the one that everybody definitely read and didn't just kind of like look at and then
So you
throw
could get out of
away
class.
because high school kids don't even.
I just did it so
High
you could get
school
out of
kids are
class.
mean.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Pretty sure you were only a part of it all so you could get out of class. Yep.
Sounds about right.
I loved being in band because there was so many band activities. We didn't have to do a lot of things. It was the best. It was so good. Every time we had like an event or something, I didn't have to go because I was part of the band, and we just get to sit around until it was our time to play, and then we could go play. So that was pretty awesome. I liked that.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Oh, and then it turned into marching band, and I joined the marching band.
How was that?
It was It was about as you expect, a bunch of high school kids trying to do marching in a not very prestigious school. It was kind of just like we could kind of do formations and
We
things like
could
that, but it
kind of
never
do
turned
stuff.
out. You could definitely tell we were high school kids. We actually went to a marching band competition,
Oh.
and they separated the schools based on class of schools, pretty much how rich the school was. So there's A class,
Uh,
B class, C class. We actually took second place in B class. I don't know what that means. I
me
don't know if
either.
that's good or bad because there was only a few A class schools. Um, but yeah, we I got that. I also did we did private competitions with trumpet and stuff like that. So I got second seat, second. I got the second place medal, whatever the heck that was. In terms of, they would sit you in front of three judges, and
Hmm.
you would play this. You would play a piece for them, and at the time, it was the scariest thing ever to be high school freshman and be put in front of three judges who would be listening to your trumpet playing. Um, I was sweating so bad, but somehow it was like one of the few things I'd actually cared about with my trumpet playing, and I had practiced it for a lot. So I got second place. So that was pretty awesome. But other than that, I wasn't very good at trumpet. There was one kid in our class that was absolutely dedicated to playing trumpet so well. Like he was like he could give some jazz bands a run for their money. He was a very good trumpet player. He was amazing. He did nothing but get home at night and practice trumpet
Oh
all
wow.
night, and like he was definitely the star of our band. He could just be, yeah, he could rock out some crazy trumpet tunes, and he got most of the attention in our band. Needless to say, he won
It's
first
impressive.
place in almost every competition, and he was amazing. I hope he's playing trumpet in an
I,
orchestra today, because dang, or some jazz band. I hope he's at a club just playing his heart out. Oh please. You know what? I take it back. I really want to go to like a high school reunion and
yeah.
hang
See,
out with
see,
my
see,
friends. I take it all back.
see. I've convinced you now, haven't I?
Yeah,
With these
I
memories.
so want to see if he's like still playing trumpet today. I don't even know what happened to my trumpet. I can barely even remember the scale. I know it's like C D
Oh, don't ask me.
A B. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I can remember it by hand. If I had a trumpet, like if I had one in front of me right now, I could probably do the scale just out of muscle memory. But other than that,
Here, I'll ship you a trumpet, Waffles.
you probably wouldn't go to a high school reunion. I feel like that's a sentiment shared by a lot of people. I was talking about earlier about how I don't know if I would go to a high school reunion or not, because it would feel, I don't, on one hand, I'm so curious to see where people ended up. On the
I'm
other
more
hand,
curious.
I don't want to know where a lot of my high school people ended up. Um, there was a lot of
Once I'm a
kids
big time
in
streamer, I
high
want to go back.
school. Wait, say that again.
Maz, once I'm a big time streamer, I want to go back.
Yeah, so you can dunk in their faces. Yeah, big time streamer. I'm a big YouTuber now.
Big,
Um,
big content
nah,
creator, face of the
I
internet.
I feel like I don't even bragging rights, whatever. There was a lot of assholes in high school and stuff like that. I don't want to go back to a reunion and find
That
out
makes
that
sense.
they're like massive like stockbroker super rich boys now, or there's I you know the less I know the better. Kind of don't
Yeah,
want to know what
I
happened
guess
to a
that
lot of
depends
my
on where
high
you went.
school.
I was in such a small high school and stuff that it's just like nothing really eventful came out of it. So for me, I wouldn't have any worries going back to just see where people are.
Or like I don't know, like if I had a friend in school, right? Like an old friend that was, I was best friends with, and I discover that they're having their life is going very shitty right now. I don't know. I would feel like, suddenly this is like a whole thing I would be very invested in all of a sudden, and it's like, I don't know how I would be able to take that. Um, you know, for the same reason, like finding out your enemies are doing amazing or finding out your best friends are doing terribly seems like it would just add more stuff I have to think about onto my shoulders. And it's like,
That's fair.
there's some things I'm probably better off not knowing. But at the same time, I'm so curious. I want
Yeah,
to know.
that's the thing for me is just I don't for me I don't think there's anything like that's too bad to go back to. So I would have no issues going back to and just seeing where people are at, because anyone that I know I care about is doing fine for the most part, and anyone that I
Right.
don't give a shit about, if they're doing well, good for them. If they're not, then I don't really know who they are in the first place. So like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna take it personally or anything like that. It's just like, I don't know.
so
It's mostly finding your friends and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
For
I
me,
don't know. It's
I guess for me, it's just one of those things.
better
Where I'm
left as a
curious.
mystery.
I'm curious, and there's nothing bad to go back to. So I guess
Yeah,
that's
there's
my
something to be said
perspective.
for
At
that.
least for on everyone's occasion is different, like for you and everything. But for me, it's just like the things I care about, I know I'm okay with already.
Immortal says, I don't really care what the bullies ended up.
Yeah, again,
I mean,
that's the thing.
like, it's whatever. Um, Most of my year were pretty close, so it's a bit different.
I I gotta say that
Pretty close to you, like impersonally, like you stayed friends.
yeah, I gotta say that I grew up in a quite nice town, so I don't think there was many bullies. There was a couple of people that you can classify under it, but there was no one who was brutally bad who did that. So it's just like I can't say that there
Oh,
was. I grew up in a town where bullying was a big thing. So
yeah.
you had
Another
your
thing for me
jocks.
is,
That's the only thing is you had your jocks and people who were stuck up, but no one was bad shit bully.
yeah, there was a few kids like that throughout most of my when I middle of high school, I transferred to a different high school and stuff like that. So a lot of people I lost touch with just because of that reason. So even if I did go to a high school reunion, I don't know which high school I'd even go to the reunion for.
It'd be the one you graduated from.
Never graduated high school.
Oh,
I
did
never
you not?
finished my senior year of high school.
Oh
I got my
wow.
GED. Yeah. Never finished high school.
Well,
I
then I don't even
went
know.
through some
I don't even know
stuff.
if you would have a high school reunion then.
Yeah. I went through some stuff during my senior year. That was my mom died during my senior year of high school, so I went through some stuff and ended up not going to high school and finishing my senior year. So I got my GED a few years after high school, but yeah, never finished high school.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, even if I did go to a
terrible.
high school reunion, the high school that I got the most time in was the high school I was talking about, where I played like trumpet and things like that. And I still had a bunch of friends from there that I would kind of be curious to see where they ended up. Immortal says, I heard recently one of the biggest bullies who almost drove me to the darkest of places now working at a church. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's strange to see where people end up. I'm sure the bullies are probably um
That's a,
maybe they're still mean assholes, I don't know. Or maybe they're super nice people now. People definitely change after they get out
no,
of
that's what
high
I was gonna say.
school.
That's always the interesting thing, and why I'm so curious is because so many people mature and change over the years. So it's just the personalities and everything change so much that it's just like, where did they end up after they actually changed and went somewhere? Did they actually do something meaningful, or did they just waste it? Who knows? So many people's paths change, just because
Yeah.
even when you're selecting where to go for college and university, what programs to take, these are so big questions that I hate, because we ask our youth to answer those questions so early, and then people consistently change their career path because of it,
Oh yeah.
because
You
you
think you
don't
want to
know.
know what you're gonna do in life as a high school kid?
Yeah,
No.
you don't know. You have no clue. Like
You're just like throw a dart,
it's
and hopefully it hits something.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, and then so many people change career paths just because of it. So it's like even for me, like I'm experienced that because I'm at that age where my career path can change so often, and I'm at that where I can experience changes and where I want to be. So that's this is technically not childhood for me anymore. This is current. Is that I'm at the
I
place
have the
where I
mind
need
of a
to.
child.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
I still play video games all the time.
I have the mind of
Nothing
a
is
child, but
changed in
yeah.
that regard.
Yeah, no, but yeah, that's current for me right now. Is that I'm at that place where it's just like I got to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life, and constant things are changing, and to where I want to be until I settle down.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's always something that you're going to be constantly going through with your entire life is where do I go from here? Even if you find, that career that you're really good in, it's never.
Well, I think at a certain point, a lot of people find direction and have an ideal, and especially when you get too deep into something, then you realize this is what you're doing, unless you make a massive change. But it's a constant thing of it's a constant ask of where you're gonna go next. But I think majority people at a certain age find the path they won't
Direction.
the direction they're going to stay in. It's not going to be this. There's going to be a little bits and turns and curves, but no one's going to go straight and then like a 90-degree turn to the right or backwards or something like that. Like that,
People do have midlife crises. They
people do it,
suddenly decide to
it,
change careers.
it happens.
It's not. It's
But
not
that's why I'm saying the
unreal.
majority of people. I'm generalizing just the majority of people because there's a lot of people who will
Yeah.
do that, but the majority of people will find a similar direction at like I think it's probably around like 30 or something, like late 20s, early 30s. I want to say that's where people kind
I
of
think it
find that
depends on
direction.
where you're at in life
Well,
currently.
yeah.
It depends.
But I
Um,
want to say that's where most people find the direction they're going to stay in, because I think at that rate, it's I don't know. That's where I mentally see it. Is that's where most people find permanent direction.
yeah, I mean that's true. That's where you kind of have settled into something and you start moving towards it, and
Because there's a lot of
you
people
kind of
who are getting married around
figure out what you're good at
yeah,
around that time and things like that. Yeah, I can see that.
and people start settling down families and stuff around that age. Is that's kind of the age group where you start settling down ish. Like the majority of people is like I think late or like early 30s. I think is where it's going
Right.
towards. Is that a lot of people are now getting married around early 30s. I did have to look up statistics. I don't know them exactly, but I think that's the age group of where people are pushing it to now. Because it used to be
Yeah,
so
yeah.
early. It used to be so early. It used to be early 20s, mid 20s, and now it's pushed to 30s because so many people are like more willing to be independent, especially women. If you look at it, it's just like a lot more women are willing to be independent and are waiting because good for them because they can actually get jobs and stuff. So it's good it's good progression in life, but you just see that marriage group shift down.
Yeah, I think it's obviously different for everybody, where you figure out where your direction is and things like that. And a lot of people have been stuck in a direction since they left high school even, and they were on a path since since they first started, and then they reach 30 and they're like, I've been doing the same thing since I left high
Yeah,
school. I'm gonna do something different. There's all sorts of different, and I think nowadays, um, you have a lot more options, in terms of, the world's a lot more connected now, than it was back in the day where it was kind of just like you pick a career. This is your career. You're gonna stick with it. You're a
but
newspaper. You're gonna be a newspaper the rest of your life.
uh,
It's times, as things have updated. You're a lot more free to change things around and do what you want,
that's what I was gonna
which is pretty
say.
cool.
I was gonna say something similar to that. Is that there was something I learned when I was young, when I was like high school or college or stuff. There's a statistic online where um, early 2000s or something like that, or before that, most I think it was before it, but like most people, when you got a job, you would stay with, and you went into a company, you would stay with that company for like 10 years before you switched. Now it's every 1 to 2 years people start switching, switch companies.
Yep.
It,
Yeah, yeah. Because it's just like people are traded around like trading cards now, and it's just like, nah,
Well,
I'm gonna
you
you can
have
be
your own
over here, you
freedoms
can be
too.
over there, you're gonna be, yeah, it's crazy how much connection, like especially with the digital age and stuff like that, how much everything is just so free flowing now that you can just be like, I'm gonna work for this company now, I'm gonna work for this company, and
Yeah,
that
I
type of
just
thing.
found it so interesting that that statistic is that it's like, and you notice it too, is that you see the older generation, they stick with they if you ask them, they've been with a company for at least like 5 6 years.
Bajillion years,
But
yeah.
you look at the younger generation, and they've probably had 10 different jobs at the age of 25 or something like that, because every 1 to 2 years they've switched a job. Like obviously I'm over exaggerating. It's probably like they're probably been like three or four different companies.
Yeah, I mean,
But
there's outliers in
but
every
but
single.
but yeah, the majority of them have switched between companies because one, it's easier and they feel more free to do that, and two, a lot more work is contracted work rather than permanent position jobs. There's a lot of contract work out there now where people are employed for 1 to 2 years and then go somewhere else and get an upgrade, get a promotion or something.
Going back to our kid
Yeah, I was
stuff,
gonna
did
say.
you as a kid ever have like a career that you would ever like, that you were set on as a kid, that you thought you would be really into? Like when they asked you as a kid, draw a picture of what you'd like to be when you grow up, and a policeman.
I can give you the standard answers, but like I never had a good answer for you that I believed in, and I still don't, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, as you grow into an adult, you're like, it's very complicated and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can give you, when I was a kid, I can give you basic answers like military
I will be a fireman.
or yeah, like a hockey player or something like that. Like I can give you the basic
Right.
answers that I always thought of. Later in life, I thought about being audio technician. At some point, I wanted to get in business, which is where I am now. But even now, business, there's so many branches that I don't even know which way I want to go, and there's so many different paths. So I'm considering my options, and I've applied to a few different things to get a feel for them, but
For a very
it's
long
hard.
time, I wanted to get into computers and things like that because, again, everything comes back to video. I at least had one hobby I was consistent with as a kid, and that was video games and stuff like that. And for the longest time, I had wanted to get into computers, but never really took off for me as an interest. Yeah, I was kind of the same as a kid. I would just write down whatever. When I think fireman is what I said during, like, whenever they asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up, little Timmy? And I'm like, I will be a fireman. Does that give me an A? Because firemen were easy to draw. You knew what to expect. You didn't give it critical thought. You just like, what's the easiest for me to draw? I know. I've got a red crayon,
Fire.
fire, and then man.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, this is what I want to be.
I guess
Um,
the thing I'm pushing myself towards is sports and entertainment, because like you said, you want to be in computers and stuff. I probably want to be in sports and entertainment because sports and everything around that is what I'm interested in. And entertainment can include content creation like this.
yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, yeah. You want to be something. I think a lot of kids' aspiration is, I want to be a pro sports player. Uh,
That's the
as
basic information I can give.
unfeasible as unfeasible as
Well,
that usually
the thing
is
is now is
for
that
a
you
lot
look
of
at
kids.
your generation, and a lot of people are like, I want to be a famous streamer. I want to be a famous YouTuber or something.
Right. Yeah. That's
That's
the big
that's the
thing.
funny thing
Yeah.
of the direction it's turned is a lot of people have seen this and like
Yeah.
they wanna be famous content creators, and you see them starting at such a young age too. A lot of people are
Yeah, and
starting
you
at a
didn't
young
even
age.
think about that stuff when you were a kid. You didn't be like,
That wasn't
I
a
want to be
possible career.
the guy that's behind these movies or anything
A
like
director,
that. You
yeah.
just assumed that they were all just created out of the ether, that God decided that movies would be created,
There's
and
some
just
people that
poof,
wanted to be
there they were.
directors. There's I feel like
Or
that was
video
I
games.
feel like that was some of the people that like at least movie directors. that was also a standard answer. Do you see? Is people would say they want to be a movie director or
But
something.
yeah, I mean, there was definitely out, of course, yeah, there was definitely people who,
But
for I think a lot of us as kids, though, at least me, for sure, that didn't even cross my mind. As much as cool as actually probably would be, I would love to create. I'm very imaginative, like I was saying before, and very theatric. I think I would have been super cool with being a movie director. If anybody had posited the fact that that could have been a career, I would have been like, yeah, that's what I want to be.
it's so cool now though, because like we said, it's just like you never thought of it as a kid, but now there being on the internet gives you so much creative freedom. Like it's harder to lock down an audience per se, but you get so much more creative freedom. Like imagine trying to do this when you were young, like you were younger, and back in the older days, is trying to create a podcast and have people watch it, and have a platform to do it on. That's not possible because Twitch didn't exist. YouTube barely exist.
My I do remember back in the day, I tried to make a Pokemon fan website that would feature my own custom. I tried to make a DeviantArt page for my custom Pokemon. Is exactly what I tried to do back in the day before anything was a thing. I learned basic HTML and tried to make a web page dedicated, like one of those
Mhm.
old school like 90s web pages with like rotating letter graphics
Yeah,
and like one big background that kind of doesn't it wasn't cropped right. It's kind of squished and like
right.
just a paragraph about yourself. I made one of those web pages in the 90s about my custom Pokemon. I think I made like one that they made a Pokemon out of. I came out with it first and they stole my idea.
Get it
Uh
rights on that. You
it
should
was,
have got rights on
yeah, it
that.
was my rose Pokemon. It's called Roselia now, and it's like it had a big rose head and it had rose hands. And now they have a Pokemon that has a big rose
You
head
should have
and big
copyrighted.
rose hands.
Should have copyrighted it. Waffles. You
Yeah,
could
I
earn
should sue.
millions.
You stole from Tiny You stole my Pokemon
You
ideas,
stole
Tiny
from Little
Waffles.
Waffles. You stole from Little Waffles.
You stole from Little Waffles. How could you plagiarize this idea from this small child? You
I
fiends.
demand millions.
Yeah, no, that was about as much content creation as I did when I was a kid.
I
Don't
didn't
even
do
know
any.
if anybody had ever found it. I'm pretty sure it might be out
Maybe they
there
did.
on the
Maybe they did. I
internet
ripped it
somewhere
off from you.
in a way back
So,
machine.
so,
Yeah,
so.
some guy or some random guy from Japan is just browsing. Oh, let's check out what the kids are doing today. And they
Oh, this
just
is a
click
good
on all these
idea.
random pages and like, oh my god, this rose creature would be perfect for our next Pokemon. Screw you, small American child.
Serious.
It is mine now. I see no copyright on it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's my headcanon for what happened with that Pokemon. Jerks
That Pokemon jerk stole
stole
my
my
idea.
Pokemon. I think it had Rose in the name too. It was like Rosalind or something, Rosaro or something stupid. And the one they came out with is Roselia, and I will forever
Revenge.
uh, I will ever forever hold a grudge against Nintendo for stealing my Pokemon idea.
And not giving you credit for it.
Yeah.
Waffles
Jerks.
demands credit for Roselia.
If anything's going to be taken away from this podcast, is that Japan give me my due credit for Roselia. I made it first.
Hashtag give Waffles credit. That's what it is.
I have a child's drawing
Gotta-
somewhere in storage that has my picture of this rose Pokemon that I made. I have proof that I made it first.
That's new Twitter craze. Hashtag give Waffles credit, Nintendo.
Hashtag give me credit.
Give Waffles credits for Roselia. Oh my goodness. Well, we're slowly gonna hit the 3-hour mark in a little bit, so
Yeah.
I think we'll start ramping it up. We went on a completely different path. We stuck to the childhood thing, majority of it, But
We actually
we
did, yeah.
we,
We
we,
actually
we did
stuck on topic for
we,
once. We did go off into like COVID territory for a while,
we did bounce
uh,
around the place everywhere. I think around
yeah.
childhood. I don't think we ever stuck to.
I mean,
The,
childhood's a pretty broad
I
category
was gonna
too.
say that
So
there is a lot of things, and a lot of things have influenced us throughout our years. Just being, just growing up in general, and still being in a not still in being in a young part of our lives, for both of us. Me more specifically, I guess, than you, but still, both of us are still quite young to a certain degree, and are experiencing
are you
things.
flexing your age on me, Bran?
I'm
Is
gonna
that what's
flex.
happening
I'm gonna
here? Are
flex my
you
age
like,
all over you.
I'm not as old as this big boomer boy,
Well,
Waffles?
you are about to change your title to Boomer who reflects on.
You're
So
not wrong.
so
You're right.
I got all
Fair
the freedom.
point.
I got all the freedom to tease you, Waffles.
It's true. I will sick the Nintendo Turtles, the Ninja Turtles, and the Power Rangers on your ass so hard.
You.
I've learned karate moves from my days as a kid being a
I
Power Ranger.
learned my
Listen,
karate moves and I tested them out, my friends.
that's
I learned
right.
how to use a tennis ball on them.
I dived into sludge pools. I went through some stuff, all in the name of training as a Power
I
Ranger.
have become a bigger and stronger man from diving into a
That's right.
sludge pool.
But a lot of that's not like, as a takeaway, that stuff seriously did influence a lot of the imagination and playing video games. As much as my parents weren't too into video games. That's why I went to all my friends' house and played video games. It was a huge influence on like my imagination and my creativity and things that I really really latched onto in life as a kid. And a lot of my life revolved around imagination and things like that when I was young, and that definitely influenced me a lot when I was older. I'm still into Pokemon. I was playing Pokemon Snap. I bought the new Pokemon Snap. Been playing that. That's a really fun game. But yeah, it was a huge influence on who I am today.
I think it's definitely an interesting concept to look back on our childhood and just reflect on it in general, is regardless of what goes on. I think it's just an interesting thing to go look back and just reflect on where we are today and what's brought us here, between friendships and things we've experienced along the ways. And just like, obviously video games have been a part of your life, a big hole. And even though I didn't talk about it today, I did talk about it on the previous podcast of how much it influenced me to a certain extent, bringing me here. And obviously I wouldn't be here if I didn't play video games. So just reflecting on that and looking back at kind of the entire scene is always, I think, a good thing and a very interesting thing just to look back on it.
Yeah,
just remember times where you could care less.
The old adage, never forget where you came from. That kind of thing. Definitely. It's very interesting to look back and find correlations between the thoughts you think now and the thoughts you thought when you were a child, and seeing how remarkably similar they can be sometimes. Sometimes you revert back into child brain and you're like, I want to play the video games. It's going to be a fun time. And, definitely, I think a lot of people still have that inner child at heart that is very influential in how they act and do things even nowadays. No matter how much you mature, that's still going to be a part of you for your entire life.
Yeah, I definitely think that's just a big part of it, is just looking back and, like you said, never forget where you came from. And I think it's definitely given a better insight to who we are and where our backgrounds come from. Not only for us to know each other more, but I guess the audience as well, to get a better insight on some of how some of your guys' childhood as well has affected yourselves and brought you here today, but as well as our own personal experiences. You guys get a deeper insight onto that, and that's always a good thing to be able to possibly better connect with everyone, especially me and you, Waffles, connecting a little bit better, to knowing our better. Hopefully we can create a better relationship to further our podcast, right? Like we said,
Yeah, I
episode
mean,
4, and we're going strong.
yeah, that's, I think the more you know about someone, the more you feel connected to them. So I think, yeah, it's good to share your past sometimes and reflect on where you were before you got where you are today. So
Yeah.
I think just as a thought exercise, even if you're not talking to anybody or sharing it with anybody, just think about that. Just think
Nice
about
pastime to think
where
about.
you were and how where you got to today. So okay, do you want to find somebody to
We
raid,
can.
Bran, to close us out for the night? We're gonna find somebody to raid for our 2 streams.
We can definitely find somebody today.
Um, I've got Star Dash Astra is playing The Walking Dead. I might raid her. She's a friend of mine. So I might raid her. I think that's what I'm gonna do. She's playing The Walking Dead, which is I didn't really touch on this subject, but I love zombies. I've always loved zombies. Zombies is another thing I was interested in as a kid.
Sonic streaming from Johnny's.
Okay.
I'll go rate Sonic because I rated Star the other day. So
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening to this.
Episode
Boomer
4.
talks about his past for a very long time.
Boomer
and then
talks about his past. Yes, indeed.
was my side anyways.
Yeah. Episode 4. We're done. Completed.
Boomer talks
Next-
about Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, the episode. Oh,
Next
man.
one's number 5, Waffles. Big achievement. We're
Yeah,
gonna go to
wow.
number 5. We got the next on the 23rd, May 23rd. That's gonna be the end of the 2nd month, pretty much, that we've done it. Like
Dang.
that,
Yeah, I can't
including
believe-
every other week
wow.
we've done it. We're gonna be hitting number 5 with just 5 episodes of us blabbering on about something.
And then in the future, in like an episode, 300 of the podcast, we can talk about how
300.
we can talk about our past in the podcast.
Passing the podcast. We get
Our
to
episode where we talked about our childhood.
That's a future thing to
And
note down, is when we get
yeah,
to episode
exactly.
300 somehow, some way, in the
Yeah,
hopes that we get
it's
there.
definitely going to happen. We're
We gotta-
definitely going to get to 300 episodes in this podcast.
How long is that going to be to get to 300?
It's
If
long.
we're,
I don't wanna
if,
do the
if we're
math.
doing every other week, how long would that be? It just seems like
That's too
such
much
a long
work for my
time.
brain.
It seems like so many years. It seems like 3-4 years of doing this. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. Wow.
All right.
Anyways,
I'm going to start the raid.
Yes,
on
let's-
Astra. Thank you guys for hanging out and joining the talk. I appreciate all you guys' input, and I hope you had fun listening to our boomer stories, or at least my boomer stories. Brands aren't boomer stories.
mine's not as boomer. It's still boomer. It's
Not
just not
as
as boomer.
Semi-boomer.
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 Semi-boomer. All right.
All right,
Anyways,
guys. Thank
thanks.
you, everybody. For hanging
Bye.
out. Love all y'all. Hope you have a good one.
Peace out.